Afternoon. The time is 2:03 p.m. This meeting of the Finance Committee meeting for October 30th, 2025 is hereby called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman at Large Keith Larson.
Here.
Alderman Dan Barrero.
Here.
Alderman Edward J. Bugg.
Here.
Vice Chair Carl Franco.
Here.
Chairperson Ted Masiacos is present, 5 present. Let the record reflect that Alderman Jonathan Nunez and Alderwoman Patty Smith are also present.
Okay, clerk, can you please read the approval of the minutes?
25-0844, approval of the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting held on October 16, 2025.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Well, actually, we had a motion by Alderman Carl Franco and a second by Dan Barrero on that one as well, just for clarification purposes. Can we read the next two together? Maybe we can get approved together. There's no objection by the committee.
25-0855, approval of the minutes from the Special Finance Committee meeting held on October 21st, 2025. 25-0859, approval of the minutes from the Special Finance Committee meeting held on October 23, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Alderman Dan Barrero, second by Carl Franco. I'm sure that's to approve, correct? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to provide public comment?
Yes, we do.
Okay, clerk, could you please read the rules for public comment?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the Finance Committee for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair, for the purpose of maintaining order, may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the Finance Committee shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concern raised during public comment.
Okay. Clerk, could you please read the name of the first person to offer public comment this afternoon?
Annie Fish.
Annie Fish? No. Annie Fish? Nope. All right, well, we'll move on to the next person. Clerk?
Patrick Fish.
Patrick Fish?
I'll wait, sorry.
You'll wait.
He'll be presenting after the.
So you're off the list on public comment. Okay, next person, clerk.
Clara Diaz.
Clara Diaz.
Yes.
Please pick a podium. Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Clara Diaz. My address is 25 North Broadway. The reason I'm here, I have been told the city plans to open a warming center in the building located on southeast corner of Broadway and New York Street. I have talked to other property owners on Broadway. We are not happy. We are opposed to this location. It will have a negative effect in our neighborhood. We will ask to the city find a location for the warming center that is not located at the gateway to downtown business district. This is the only I want to say to you guys. Please, I hope you take the right decision for our community and for the business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Diaz. Okay. Clerk, next person.
Mark Hogan.
Mr. Mark Hogan. You have 3 minutes. Just keep an eye. Please state your name, your address.
My name is Mark Hogan. I have Tavern on Broadway at 24 North Broadway, which is basically 100 feet from this proposed development. And as you can probably imagine, I'm not excited. We have spent years trying to get downtown back to what people would love to come downtown. We've had so many good things happen during the summer, the Food Truck Fest, the Luminar. I've talked to so many people that just think downtown looks so good, and we fight every day. Construction on Broadway has been unbelievable. Every summer, I've been here 4 summers now. Every summer we've been shut down. We were shut down all summer. They got it all nice, looking real nice. You should see it today. They've cut it up again. It's just, business is a struggle. Old Aurorans don't come downtown. That's just a fact of life. And I talk to people every day that just don't come downtown because they remember what it used to be. I just don't believe that this center at the corner of a very busy, high-profile spot in downtown Aurora on Broadway is the correct use for the space. I completely agree we have to have compassion for people that are not as fortunate as us. I wonder how many people in this room know any of the people on the street. I do. There's a guy named Rob. He is up at the 7-Eleven on Galena. He's an old cement finisher. I help him out when I can. There's a gentleman on a little red scooter that's around town all the time. I'm sure everybody's seen him. He smokes BLK cigars. I give him a couple bucks and you know, some cigars. You know, you can't help everybody, but you know, I do have compassion for people that are less fortunate. But this is not the right use for this building. I'm not sure why the city got so involved in this building and put so much money into it. I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of turn, but this is not the right use for this building. And that's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Clerk, next person on the list?
Paola Zuno.
Paula Zumo. Okay.
I have to break my notes because I'll forget everything. Hi, I'm Paula Zuno. I'm from Aurora Jewelry, and I would like to kind of express our opinion in this meeting regards to the warming center in downtown. The gesture to helping other people in need is something we all thrive for and we want. Unfortunately, for the business people in downtown, it will create a larger problem that we already have and have to be dealing with. In our business, on a weekly basis, we do get individuals who are unhoused, and we do not only have to do it with inappropriate behavior, inappropriate language, and health issues that they have. Our customers are already afraid to walk out the door with anything that they purchase because these individuals are walking around. The warming center will not only deter customers from shopping with us, but from coming back. We downtown business owners have not only been suffering for the last couple of years with the construction on Broadway, but we believe our customers will find other places to go if they feel unsafe. In the past couple of years, we have been robbed by these individuals. Last one about a year ago, and then this last week, this lady came in. She had a full breakdown. She was crying. She was screaming. She went after one of our customers, was saying bad words, was saying everything. We have customers, kids, and everything. She walked out. She slammed our doors, and she was like, you know what? I'm going to just go kill myself. And we're trying, like, we're compassionate. We're like, hey, you know, we're dealing with them. We never kick them out. We'll just kind of wait around, and then we'll be like, okay, you know, if you're not going to buy anything, would you please step out? And they do, but we get them on a weekly basis. You know, we do not want to waste the city's resources by calling the cops and every time this happens, because it would be on a weekly basis. Us business owners would like to make downtown more appealing and safer for everyone so we can have our business thrive and to have Aurora as beautiful as a downtown that it could be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Clerk, next person on the list?
Daniel Ponce.
Ms. Ponce, please state your name, your address if you don't mind, and also and your 3 minutes will begin.
Sure. Hi, my name is Daniel Ponce. I'm from Bella Jewelry at 23 North Broadway in Aurora, Illinois. Just 3 locations over from the proposed new location for, I guess, the homeless shelter is part of it, the building that they're gonna redo. I just heard about this maybe about an hour ago. I got a call from several other business owners saying, hey, are you going to the meeting? I didn't even know there was a meeting concerning this. I would like to hear what you guys are gonna say first during your guys' proposal, but I just wanna confirm everything that all the other business owners have said. I've experienced the same thing. You know, we're trying to be as compassionate as caring for everybody, and we understand that everybody needs a place to stay. But in the center of the business district, it's gonna be detrimental to business, to people, the businesses. And then here's my main thing. There are two ways to enter my location from the parking lot. You have to go through the alley or around the corner. People are terrified to go to the alley because they're like, we're scared. It's not lighting there. It looks very, very shady, real sketchy. As soon as I even point to it, people are like, is there another way to get into your store? I say, yes. You have to go around, down the street, around the corner, come on in. But now that if there's gonna be something going on there, if there's gonna be a lot more people hanging around the buildings. Like I said, I'm barely found out about this maybe an hour, hour and a half ago. I had no idea this was even proposed or brought up. This is a major concern for a lot of the business district because you're gonna put something in the business district where we should be focusing on the business and get the city to a new level. I remember when the mayor came in and we had the meeting, his introduction at the venue, he said, hey, he wants to bring pretty much Aurora to be like Naperville, correct? That's what he proposed. I even commented and said, hey, there's a big stigma with Aurora. A lot of people don't want to come downtown because they're scared of how the old Aurora was. If this is going to be part of the old Aurora style, it's going to be detrimental to everything. Like I said, I'm caring, I'm compassionate. Everybody needs a place to stay, but there are appropriate places where to put places and where not. In the middle of a business district, I think this is going to be very detrimental to the cause and to bring foot traffic and people downtown. So like I said, I still want to hear what you guys say, what you guys have proposed on your guys' meeting. I know it's on the agenda. Like I said, I just barely found out about this.
This
but
is your 3 minutes
Yeah.
to speak.
Mhm.
So this is not to have a dialogue between the dais and the alderman and this
No,
public
I understand
comment
that. I'm
period.
just
So,
explaining my concerns and all that.
if you're
so.
finished, I can give you a little bit of information real quick.
Sure.
But are you finished or?
Yes, I am.
All right, so thank you for coming up. We're trying to learn about this as well. This is all fast moving on my end. I'll speak for myself. And I'm looking forward to hearing as well what is being proposed. So it will be here for our information here today. It's not something we're going to vote on. So it's also for the community's information also. So it may be a little while because it'll be towards the end of the agenda, as it's a just informational only piece. And hopefully we'll be able to get to it before 5 o'clock today because we have some budgetary department subject matters we need to discuss as well when it's all said and done. So thank you to one and all. Are there any more speakers, Madam Clerk?
I don't know if there's any more speakers that just walked in.
That's all we had signed in, right?
Yeah, just the first
Okay,
two.
so we don't have any other speakers. The first two are not speaking here today during public comment period.
Is she? Oh, okay, we're good.
So with that said, and before we go into the agenda, I just want to make the committee aware, if you haven't checked your email or your mail inbox, as of this morning, there's a few little adjustments made to the schedule. So there's also a hard copy in your mailbox, and also staff has been asked to have our marketing department update the calendar online and our social media announcements as well in regards to those changes. So some of them are with adjusting the times a little bit, and some are reworking some of the dates to give police a little bit more time to work with staff before their presentation before us. So, Clerk, would you please read the first item on the agenda?
25-0863, an ordinance amending the Ward 2 budget for the fiscal year 2025.
Rich Jacobs, Chief of Staff, Office of Alderman. I'm here on behalf of Alderwoman Wani Garza, Ward 2, who is unable to be here to present this item directly. Alderwoman Garza, is seeking the City Council's approval for an amendment to the 2025 Ward 2 budget. It's in the amount of $10,000. It's from the Ward 2 fund balance. It's going to be used for a grant to help the worst kitchen, which is looking to do a facade update that includes modernizing the front entry area to the business. Total cost for the improvements will be around $35,000, and the business owner has already given a down payment to begin the work of $7,000. The work is scheduled to be completed before the end of the year. So on behalf of Alderwoman Garza, she's seeking approval from this body and City Council for this budget amendment of $10,000.
I move for approval.
A motion by Alderman Dan Barrero for
Second.
approval, a second by Alderman Carl Franco. Any questions?
Yes.
Alderman Bug.
Yeah, just a kind of an internal housekeeping thing for finance. And I guess for our practices in the alderman's office. Since this is a capital expenditure, and I was trying to follow along, why do we need to move the money first to 50/50 and then to Worst Kitchen? Why wouldn't it just come from Ward 2 capital funds to Worst Kitchen?
Wait a second.
It needs to be, well, it's part of our procedures when we do move from the capital into the 50/50, and then the check will be made directly to the business in $10,000. It's a matter of procedure. It's been part of our process.
Yeah, because those things were usually not capital expenditures. This is a capital expenditure. Although, I mean, I guess no alderman, well, some aldermen have Alderman Franco, you have a program, a direct program. Yeah, I guess I do not have a straight capital building line item on my capital side. I have streets, I have lights, I have trees. So perhaps that's the reason.
That is the reason, and in the paperwork, it's, the account number is 312-1350-419.50-50.
Yeah, 50/50. Okay. That's good. But if even without a program, if an alderman had a quote unquote capital enhancement, something like that, fund, we could take it directly from that and not have to, I mean, it just shortens the process maybe for you and for finance.
If there's funds in there to do this additional grant,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Dan Barrero.
Yes, the way I read it is they want to take it from the fund balance, so it's no different than the request that we had the last finance meeting, the one before. We were asking to tap into dollars that was different. That was different from capital to non-capital, but this one, she's trying to tap into fund balance, money that's not budgeted. So we all have dollars that are not budgeted that are in our fund balance, and that's what, I believe that's what's being asked for here, adding to her budget. So I'm in favor of it.
Alderman Carl Franco.
I just want to piggyback on what Alderman Bug said. You know, when we went through this, you probably remember too, it was always that gray area about grants and capital projects, you know, and we always kind of thought, well, if you're doing infrastructure, stuff like that, it should be. And we never really quite fine-tuned that, but this is kind of got caught in the crosshairs, I would say. So spiritually, the spirit of the rule, I think this is an easy one, but it's just not defined completely. And I know you're talking about, because we had talked about this before. So I think we're all right on this one. It's just, I think it's just an accounting type of thing.
If there are no further questions on Bug, any questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Jacobs. Clerk, could you read the next item on the agenda?
25-0593, a resolution authorizing the city to accept a grant award of $1,578,000 from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, and to approve a participation agreement between the City of Aurora and Hesed House for renovations to expand the family shelter capacity of Hesed House.
Welcome, Mr. Ragona.
Good afternoon, members of the Finance Committee. I am Chris Ragona, the Director of Community Services. So this is a grant that was received through the state's competitive application for the Shelter Expansion Grant. Typically, entitlements like the city are not eligible for state grants through CDBG. However, they did make an exception and exclusively offered this. This was through the CARES Act, funded all the way back in 2020. We applied in 2024 and have been working through the approval process since. We are now ready to approve and enter into a participation agreement with Hesed House. To give you a little bit of background on this project, we're looking to take the number of beds for their family shelter from 59 to 120, so essentially doubling it. Hesed has averaged, since we've applied in 2024, 77 family members, so they have continually exceeded their capacity. When that happens, they then have to put family members into hotels, which becomes very expensive. I do have Joe Jackson here, the Executive Director of Hesed House, to answer any additional questions. This grant will be for $1.57 million. There's no match, so there's no cost to the city. And this would greatly enhance, not only by increasing the number of beds, but just amenities such as enhanced classroom space, computer lab, clothes closet, family isolation rooms, children's play area, and a few other amenities. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Alderman Dambero.
Chairman Masiacos, yes. Hello, I have a, just curious, do you guys have a rendering where this work's going to be done? Where's it exactly going to be located?
So there is a draft site plan in your packets. This will not be new construction, so it'll be it'll be rehabbing their main campus and extending off of their current family shelter.
It's Exhibit B for us.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Alderman Larson.
Thank you. Yeah, so if this is rehabbing an existing space, is this going to affect capacity at all while the work is being done?
Sure. Go ahead, Joe.
It will, but we are
Excuse me,
currently
could you please
utilizing.
state your name for the
sorry.
record, please?
Joe Jackson, I'm the Executive Director of Hesed House here in Aurora. So it will affect capacity short term, but we are currently utilizing funding to have families off-site. So in hotels, right now, actually, the numbers are a little off. We have 140 men, women, and kiddos in our family shelter right now. Family shelter was built for actually 50. We made another part of our building available to make it 59. So yes, it'll impact it short term, but people will still have a place to stay. And then when everything is done, we'll have expanded capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Bug.
Done good.
Oh, all right. Alderman Franco.
So we're getting a grant for $1,578,000. I'm enough to match. What do we think the total cost of the project is going to be? And if it's over that, who's paying for that extra amount?
Not me personally, but Hesed House.
Well, that wouldn't be bad. So Hesed House will pick up the rest. Okay.
Please step up to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Sorry, Hesed House would pay the overage, and right now it projects to be about 1.7 million, and we are prepared to cover that and additional contingency fund, just because this is the old City of Aurora incinerator building. We don't know what we're going to find when we start this work, so we do have contingency fund there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Barrero, second by Alderman Larson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, could you please read the next item on the agenda?
Item 25-0782, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 5-year renewal subscription of Debt Books lease and subscription management platform in the total amount of $118,125.00.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Reed, the Comptroller Deputy Treasurer, and I am here on behalf of the Accounting Department asking for renewal of our debt book lease subscription. This is the software that we use for our government accounting compliance. You've maybe heard us talk in the past when we're presenting the audit, we were talking about accounting for leases and the subscription-based information technology agreements. This is the software that we need to use for that. We are currently in a year-to-year subscription paying $22,500 per year. We're asking to go into a renewal for a 5-year period. That would increase the cost to $23,625 per year, which is a 5% increase, but it will lock in that rate for the entire 5-year. And we think that economically that would be beneficial to lock in that rate for the 5-year term rather than being subject to 3 to 5% increases each year. Any questions?
Okay. Alderman Burrow.
Yes, hi Linda. Mrs. Reed, I have a question. I understand the need for this, but just looking at the cost, to me, it seems like a lot. You know, if it was coming out of my pocket, I would say it's a lot for an organization like us, probably not so much, but still, you know, $23,600 a year for a subscription. Is there another product or an alternative that's out there that could provide the same
back
thing?
in 2022, when this became a requirement, we explored different options. We considered doing it in-house, but given the structure of our leases, they're multi-year, they're very old, they're very complex. And then when we, in 2023, were required to add in the subscriptions, there's way more. We did investigate other products out there on the market, but they're more generic. They didn't meet our needs. This is a unique product that's specifically designed for governmental entities, and it manages all the subscriptions and creates the journal entries, and it expedites our processing at year end. There's no way we could do this on our own without the software to be in compliance.
So does that mean it integrates with our system, or?
It doesn't integrate, but it spits out, you put in the leases and it analyzes them and it gives you the journal entry, and then we just have to upload those journal entries into our accounting system, but it does all the calculations. They're very complex calculations that need to be done, that it would be very time consuming and virtually impossible to do by hand given the volume that the city has.
And if you did this by hand, would that be how that would equate to a half-time person, a full-time person?
Probably at least a half-time person.
It'd be a part-time job.
It is. We did look at this in the beginning, and each calculation takes a lot of analysis, calculations, and revisions.
Okay, thank you.
And that would just be a short-term cost comparison.
Well, this accounting requirement's not going away, so every year when we get new leases and new subscriptions, we have to do the calculations and the analysis and everything. So this is basically to stay in compliance year from year for our audit.
Right.
This is
Okay.
required.
Just trying to say, there's also a long-term cost when you bring on an employee. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah, no,
so
we don't necessarily want a
that's-
new employee.
yeah.
We just want the software.
I wasn't going there, just for the record.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, is any other questions from the committee? Alderman Barb.
Yeah, as I read through this, of course, we've had this for a couple years. Definitely we need something in this space. The company provided, I guess it was only some of the new cities that have come on board with this, budgets of 100 million plus. Do we have some comparatives with cities that are about our size and what they're using, or cities with a budget about ours in between the 500 and 700?
There are
million?
other products out there, but they're not specifically designed for governments. I'm not familiar. I could ask them if they have a list of comparables of other cities of what they're using, but it's an individual choice. Some people are doing it in-house, some have their accounting firm contract it out and do it, some are using other software, which I investigated and didn't think was best suited to our needs, so.
Okay. Yeah, just always more information is better. So if we just found out who Naperville, Rockford, and
Okay.
Joliet, what they do,
Okay.
and just comparison.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So moved.
When does subscription end right now? that we
It
have?
currently expires November of 2025, so we would be extending it for 5 years.
All right, so in a month.
Well,
Expires.
we're gearing up for year end, so we
Right.
kind of need the
Right,
software to
yeah.
get started for our audit, so we're
Second.
not late.
I have a motion, if there are no other further questions, we have a motion by Alderman Franco to approve, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Second by Alderman Damborero. If there are any further questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Ms. Reed. Clerk, could you please read the next item on the agenda?
25-0835, a resolution authorizing the execution of the 5-year agreement for arbitrage rebate compliance service with Hilltop Securities Asset Management, LLC.
Linda Reed, Comptroller Deputy Treasurer. I'm back again to talk about our other favorite software with Hilltop Securities Asset Management. Actually, not software, but it's a consulting firm. Because we have issued bond debt, we are subject to IRS compliance to do arbitrage calculations. And so this is a contract with Hilltop Securities Asset Management to do our arbitrage calculations for us. The contract was executed back in August of 2022. At that time, we did not believe that we were going to be going over the $50,000 threshold, so that wasn't brought before the council. Since then, we've paid $49,900 to date, and we realized that we have more additional calculations to do through the end of August of 2027 when this contract expires. So we're here asking for approval and ratification of this contract to get through the remaining term of the contract with our remaining calculations. These are highly technical calculations. They're needed for IRS compliance. And I could go into more about what arbitrage is if you'd like, but any questions?
I'll leave that to my colleagues here at the dais.
Go see the movie.
The question I have for you, if I may interject first, can we forecast that we're gonna go over 50 grand, or like the previous resolution, can we forecast that we're gonna need a new update and come before the committee well before we have to pull the trigger because something's expiring?
Well, yes, we have other issues. Basically, the IRS has a schedule of when we issue bonds, and like at so many intervals, we have to
Okay.
do the compliance, and we've scheduled it out. And yes, we will be needing at least another $13,000 left before the contract expires.
Okay.
Which will bring it to a total of $62,900 for the
Okay.
full 5-year period.
I guess what I'm just saying, especially with the previous item, when you brought up the thought for the previous item, giving us an opportunity to look at an item before it expires in a month, and we have to keep moving, or else it may disturb our operations and how we work. That's all I'm trying to say here with that.
Well, when we originally started this, we did not have that many series scheduled for analysis that needed that, but as our debt
Okay.
has increased since we've come along, now we have more issues that are subject to arbitrage calculations,
sure,
which we
okay.
could not have predicted back in 2022.
Sure, all right. Alderman Damborero.
I move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Alderman Damborero, second by Alderman Carl Franco. Any questions? Alderman Bug.
More so a comment. I appreciate you bringing this forward. We sitting on this committee, we talked a lot about, but you did push it a little bit. You're at 49.9, so it's under 50,000. We used to do a lot of ratifications.
Right.
People would come here. We spent $80,000. We want to send the vendor a check. Please approve this. Doing it the wrong way, the opposite way. But you came before we hit the 50,000, and I appreciate that, and I hope all of our departments, when they're in this situation, they put it together and come before the committee instead of going the ratification route, which every time we ratify something, I hear our dear friend Bob O'Connor in my ear. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We follow the rules and it's in addition to enforcing them. Thank you.
Well, if there are no further questions, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Clerk, could you please read the next item on the agenda?
25-0839, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to order streetlight poles from Gray Bar, Itasca, Illinois, in the cumulative amount of $102,579.34.
Good afternoon, Ian Wade with the Engineering Division. As outlined in the memo, we're looking to purchase some additional light poles here to help us close out this year and for early 2026. We did not do our typical annual request for bids because the inventories were believed to be sufficient for the majority of the year. But as time has ticked on here, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in knockdowns, and with the spun concrete poles that are the big ticket items, we've actually started to see some deterioration of some of the older previously existing spun concrete poles, which created a larger than expected need to purchase some of these as soon as possible. As mentioned in the memorandum, we do plan on putting a request for bids out here in the next month or so to go that route for the larger single purchase we anticipate will be needed for the majority of 2026. But by utilizing one of our vendors, which actually was among those that had been selected through the previous bid processes in Gray Bar, being able to utilize them with their Omnia Cooperative Purchasing Program, this gave us the opportunity to just make this relatively smaller purchase now. So there is as mentioned, it started out with a handful of smaller purchases, and now we're looking to make these larger purchases with these poles. We had not opened the purchase orders for the larger amounts to date. We had only opened purchase orders in the amount of $20,000. So I guess with that, we'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Any questions by the committee? Alderman Bug.
Yeah, I'll go. Thank you for bringing this forward and the information. I certainly didn't know that the lead time on these things is a full 6 months. So, I mean, we order them now, and you're talking May, because of course you don't put those things in the ground necessarily in the cold of February. But no, this is necessary, and yeah, I guess as you drive around town, there does seem like there's been more down for whatever reason. Just happened. So very happy to approve this and help beautify our city.
Alderman Guerrero.
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on what Alderman Bug said. So back earlier this year, right around February, we had a whole bunch of lights that were out on Farnsworth, and the parts were on back order. It took about 4 months. So I'm glad to see that you guys are being proactive to make sure we have inventory on hand. Thank you.
Alderman Franco.
So, over the past few years, I have put in light poles in spots that kind of were dark in various areas in the ward, paid for with ward funds. If one of those light poles was to be knocked down, would that be, the city would pay for the replacement of that, or would that also come out of ward funds? So it's initially ward funds. How would that work, or don't you even know about that?
Yeah, typically these purchases are made to address knockdowns such as that. Right. So we appreciate if you helped contribute to some emergencies and some quick turnarounds. But yeah, the typical procedure would be to purchase these on an annual basis and address them using city funds.
Okay, thank you.
All right, since I see no further questions, what's the will of the committee?
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Bug. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Wade. Clerk, could you please read the next item on the agenda, please?
25-0852, a resolution establishing 2026 golf rates at Phillips Park Golf Course.
Welcome, Mr. Schmitz. One of my favorite subjects,
Good afternoon, Chairman and
the
Committee.
golf course. Yes.
Jeff Schmidt, Superintendent of Golf Operations at Phillips Park Golf Course. Have before you guys an attached proposal for the 2026 golf rates for the 2026 golf season. We last adjusted greens fees rates back in 2024. It's a wellness activity for the citizens of Aurora as well as individuals from our surrounding communities. Historically, the city has always offered competitive rates to our constituents who patronize Phillips Park Golf Course. We built a wonderful reputation for welcoming golfers of all skill levels, ages, but also maintaining great turf conditions and providing exceptional customer service, keeping golfers coming back and playing Phillips Park Golf Course. As industry costs continue to rise, the proposed rate increase will help absorb some of those costs while helping us keep competitive with similar golf courses and allow for the continued investments into the golf course every day. After assessing surrounding golf courses and their rates, we will still better position ourselves to our competitors while still remaining an attractive option and still providing the best rates to our patrons. I'm available for any questions.
I'll start this one a little bit, since my kids started visiting the golf course and bringing their golf clubs over the summer and utilizing their allowance to be on the greens in the driving range. How do I explain it to my wife that their allowance has to go up?
Tell them they get a friendly golf pro that'll give them some generous golf
Okay.
tips out on the driving range.
Okay, so, but really, how did you come up with these numbers? How do we come up?
Yes.
I know you said we're competitive.
Mhm.
I know we had this subject. It comes up every year, and I call you up because I get some calls as well about this. So, how do we come up with these numbers?
So, I really pay close attention to what our competitors are priced at. Also, at the same time, our budget to maintain the golf course as well as to make sure we have enough revenue to make up for things that need to be purchased. We're on a 25-year infrastructure at the golf course right now. Things are needing to be addressed a little bit. But we don't just raise rates just to raise rates. 21 years here at the city, I think we've had in 5 times we've raised greens fee rates in 5 years. So we're very attentive to what the golfers want to pay, what they can afford. Very attentive to the seniors because that's a hot button with the senior golf rates. And we always want to make sure that we're attractive to be able to maintain those rounds versus others going elsewhere. But to answer your question, we try and just keep in competition with our surrounding competitors. And honestly, we're not really chasing all the same customers anymore. Golf has exploded. And unfortunately for some golf courses took advantage of that on their rates. We did not. And I hear that from customers, how much what they pay at some other facilities and that. And I can't explain another facility's situation versus ours. But as a city, we want to be able to provide a wellness activity at an affordable rate to our customers and also at the same time provide great expectations of conditions, service, and amenities.
Appreciate that very much. Alderman Damborero.
Okay, I don't want to be, I don't want to spoil the fun here, but the what do you call it, the season pass?
Yes.
Seems like a good deal. So are we losing money on that? It's $250 for the year. You can play as much as you want. I don't want to ruin a good thing, but are you guys analyzing that? Or do
Yes.
people actually, come out every day, or maybe not so much?
Yes. So the season pass has some history to it. It's been around for quite some time. It's evolved over time, starting from my very first year, way back when. The season pass used to be unlimited, and it was a much higher rate, and they could pretty much play anytime they wanted. That was discontinued the season that I started, so I don't have any history of that, but the season pass has continued where the stipulations on that pass are as follows. They can play Monday through Friday at any time, and they pay a user fee of $14. So they don't have to be, stipulated to a 9-hole round or an 18-hole round. It is not a play all day fee. So they cannot play all day from sunup to sundown for $14. Weekends, it's available after 1 p.m. So after 1 p.m. the weekends, they can utilize that pass. On the weekends, if they are not playing at the allotted time, they are charged the annual rate, which is like the annual member rate. So it's a sensitive subject on the season passes. I'm not in favor right now of terminating those, but I think we need to put a moratorium on them. If you do not renew after this year, then it's not going to be available. So if you want to maintain that season pass, you have to maintain it and renew it on an annual basis. We only have 31 of them. That's all that we have. I'm sorry, pardon me, 37. Pardon me, 37 is what we have on file. And out of those 37, 31 are resident and 6 are non-resident.
I'm unsatisfied with the different ways that you're trying to make it so it's not a drain to the golf course, but I appreciate it. But I think 37 is a reasonable number of people, and that's going to be smaller and smaller every year. So
That is correct, and I understand some individuals have had those for years, and I didn't think it was a good idea to just, but I think it's the proper idea and the most responsible idea at this point now to put a moratorium on them all, and then you have to renew on an annual basis if you miss your renewal, and we're not selling any new ones.
you're not selling any more new ones?
No.
So it's too late?
Yes.
I missed out?
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Because
you.
we still do offer the annual card, which is available for adults and seniors. We sell a substantial number of those so they can still get an affordable rate. So we do have options.
How do you notify people for renewal, if at all? Or you just expect them to come in, or does the city notify them, or your department notify them?
We don't notify them though when their car renews. So when they step up to the counter, a lot of times we have an idea when they're getting close, and we'll remind them, hey, it's getting close to renewal, and or when they come to check in, they'll flag us saying it's time to be renewed, and we'll ask them, would you like to renew, or would you not like to renew? And they either say yes or no. The season passes will know what they'll know when it's close to renewal time for them to get renewed.
All right. Okay. Alderman Franco.
So I want to get something straight on the season pass. They're still paying for the carts?
Yes.
So it's $14 and then
$19.50.
$19.50 for
Yes.
the cart, okay. And just, so people know that that is a good rate, because I think at Orchard Valley, it's over $1,000, maybe $1,200 for the season pass, so we're doing them very well. And as a golfer, these new rates, and I golf all over the area, they're at or below our competition. So we're still competitive, but just a little bit under. So I think this is very fair, based on what I've seen out there. So I think these are very appropriate prices, increases. And everybody's increasing anyway, so, everything just costs more. So I think this is a good proposal.
Thank you.
And an award-winning golf course. I have to.
Thank you, Dan.
I have to promote the third ward part. Okay. Alderman Buck.
Just quick question. What are the ages, because I have a new community, 55 and over, what are the ages for junior? Is it 17 and under?
Yes, 17 and younger for a junior and 16 older for a senior.
60?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by
Second.
Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Barrero. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Clerk, would you please read the next item on the agenda?
25-0807, review of the proposed 2026 city budget, mayor, alderman, boards and commissions, economic development, sustainability.
Okay. Chief Jacobs, are you the mayor's, we're doing with the mayor. Okay, start with the mayor. Mrs. Cameron, we can begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Finance Committee, Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff, here to present information about our 2026 budget proposal for the Mayor's Office. This is who is proposed to be in the Mayor's Office in 2026. You'll notice it is down one team member, which is our confidential secretary, Valerie, due to cutting costs. Our mission statement is here. You have it also in the presentation. It's also been in the budget, so I'll skip along for time reasons. On this, we manage and track a lot of different things in the Mayor's Office. Certainly, hearing out constituent concerns, overlook all department and divisions, help provide vision and guidance on those things, local committee agenda items, federal, state, and local legislative matters, and then all of the boards and commissions. Here are some of our goals for 2026. We want to implement a risk management information system to assist in better identifying property and casualty risks to the city. We've identified a few things that we just see are gaps, and we want to make sure to fill those. We develop a centralized electronic repository for city policies and procedures. Some of those are captured in Inside 44. We just want a better tracking of that and making sure that they're updated and properly announced to staff when those changes are made, so everyone is well informed of all policies. In collaboration with sustainability and zoning teams, we are working to develop and adopt new zoning regulations for data centers that balance economic growth with community well-being, energy efficiency, and environmental sustainability. We are establishing Aurora as a CEJA workforce hub by housing training programs in a city facility and partnering with unions, employers, and educators to prepare residents for higher wage jobs in renewable energy, green building, and sustainable infrastructure. Another goal is adopt and implement a strengthened ethics ordinance, including annual increased ethics reporting and continued ethics training for staff and elected officials. Publish a comprehensive procedure document to guide contract management. We just kind of, again, want a central repository for all contracts in the city that are executed. So we deal with a lot of contracts that sometimes are multi-year contracts, and know we need a good way to manage that as administrations come and go, as staff comes and goes. We want clear idea of where our contracts stand and making sure that we're in line constantly with the contracts and our partners are as well. We hope to research, identify, and establish new sustainable sources of revenue. Publish a comprehensive procedure document to guide the administration of administrative search warrants. Identify and implement new ways to increase community engagement and resident involvement in the city's decision-making processes. Build the first of hopefully many affordable passive homes in the city of Aurora. Institute a program of coordinated OSHA training and driver training across the city government to help the workforce be safe and mitigate risks. Here's some 2025 highlights. Obviously, this administration's been in office for 6 months. We'll go through those. Manage the city's government relations team and all legislative initiatives, overseeing the budget process, which was a large part of this so far, restructuring of departments based on staff feedback, launched listening and action tour, worked on reports for that, launched public transition committees, established and integrated sustainability department. Some of the staff duties, of course, is being a liaison for all of our city council committees. We review the Legistar items, review presentations, update as needed, attend every committee meeting, serve as a liaison for all of you, and generate and present items. We're in several different COGs. This is what we spend a lot of our time in, these COGs specifically, which is DuPage Mayors and Managers meetings, Metro West Council of Governments, and Metropolitan Mayors Caucus. Sorry, I skipped along. This is we inherited this lobbyist and legislative affairs team, Vision MAI, Marquardt and Humes, and Barnes and Thornburg. That is just who we currently have in 2025, and we're looking at reducing costs in 2026, and we'll go over that in a minute. As far as, there we go. Some legislative highlights. These are money that's coming. It may have already been promised, and it's finally coming in 2026. And that includes the dredging of Mastodon Lake. That's $4 million, $2 million in the expansion of fiber optic redundancies, specifically on the east side. $250,000 construction of a sound barrier along Orchard Road. That's long time coming to the city for that project. $100,000 for a community benefit for an HVAC system at the Thompson Center for AID. $1.5 million in state funds for infrastructure projects here at the city of Aurora. A lot of those include lead service line improvement. And then another community initiative, which is $150,000 for breaking free of Aurora for capital costs and infrastructure costs. These are our proposed budget cuts. We have no decision packages. We are not increasing budget. We are only cutting it. We're cutting it from 25 to 26 by 21.5%. As I said before, we've reduced staff. We are taking away the car stipend that the mayor has. Any boards and commission stipends the mayor's office used to have, we're taking away. No sister city travel, no mileage reimbursement. The position I mentioned, no city vehicle use by this administration. We've significantly reduced any travel, meeting, toll reimbursement, flowers and plants, coffee supplies, almost all of our training and education budget. 60% of contracted services, that is a lot of our legislative matters, is going away as well. So we tried to do our best effort to make a large reduction to our budget to show, that we are willing to take the pain along with others. So that is, as far as budget items, nothing has increased other than what is in, executive pay, things like that, for normal increases or things like that, but no additional monies, only reductions to the mayor's office budget. And any questions?
I think you're going to get a few. I'd like to start off with my first one, and that is in regards to our legislative affairs and our lobbyist efforts. You mentioned you're cutting 6% of contracted services. What approach are you looking to go? Which direction are you looking to go with our lobbyists? Because I don't think it's very clear here in the presentation. Just mention what we have.
Sure. So we've sat down with our current lobbyists as well as interviewing several other lobbyist firms to get a better idea of where we're going next year. We've gotten quotes from all of those. We plan to present that to council should our budget be approved.
All right. Okay. Are you looking to maintain that same monetary level moving forward?
No, a 60% reduction to that line.
All right, so it's all legislative.
There are some other
for
contracted
lobbyists.
services that have been in there in the past. We have not used that so far as in our administration, but there were many other sort of contracted services that the mayor's office might need for one reason or another in the past, but it's primarily for legislative affairs.
All right. Alderman Franco.
Thank you. I'm looking at page 260 of the mayor's office in the budget, and it's got short-term goals. And number 4, establish non-congregate warming shelter in Mount Aurora that ensures residents experience homelessness or housing insecurity, have safe, dignified, and supportive winter shelter options. So how do we know that the people that will be coming to whatever we do in the future are Aurora residents? Because I don't think that the taxpayers of Aurora, as benevolent as we are, and we are one of the most benevolent cities in northern Illinois, care to pay for people who are struggling in other cities and bring them here and put that burden on us. So how do we differentiate, I guess is what I'm asking.
Sure. So we're the second largest city, in the state. We're going to have people here, and the fact that we have the second largest homeless shelter in the state as well. Here, people send them whether there is a bed or not, right? Luckily, we just heard about the 1.5 million that's HESED received in funding to help expand their operations. They're always doing amazing work to try to do that. But there are people that can't go to HESED for a variety of reasons. And so we're looking not in this year to do the non-congregate model, but hopefully next year. And as far as just like HESED tries to find, looks to see if people have been in the area for a certain amount of time before that, the warming shelter would do the similar things. There are people, though, sometimes APD brings us people who were stranded at a train station in previous years and needed housing for the night, something like that. I think we would like to work with other and do some sort of intergovernmental agreement, perhaps, with other places to talk about how we best deal with that together in the 4 counties we serve. Who else is going to kind of help to make this work, whether that is other towns or counties participating in a funding portion or other warming shelters that they're doing in their local places, so we can at least redirect people to the correct places so it doesn't. The primary will always be Aurora residents, but they don't have homes, so it's tricky.
So in my mind, you hit the nail on the head. How do we get our surrounding communities to step up to the plate with these situations and take the burden off of one town and spread it out equally, proportionality-wise, to other towns? And I think that's a fair and equity thing, and I like if we could work with our counties to kind of get on board with that and put a little pressure on these neighboring communities, because, again, and I'll just give an example, why should everybody that has a problem in Geneva and Naperville and Oswego come to Aurora when they may not be doing without it? So I like that. That's the way we should be doing it. This is a big picture problem, and everybody needs to get involved. So I would certainly support us being very aggressive to get other people on board with it, just to make it an equitable thing, because it's just not fair to us and our resources to kind of take the ball, more than others, I would say.
I think that's fair, and I think working with all of the separate counties' continuum of cares is the way forward. We know that's a really heavy lift initially, especially on a non-congregate model, so we're going to need to take some time. We pursued that this year, and we just didn't have enough time. So we're working on that over time. Hopefully with all of those conversations, we have a good relationship with DuPage, and King County's Continuum of Care want to reach out to those others as well.
Any other questions for the committee? If I may, is Mr. Jacobs, Chief Jacobs here?
He is.
The document you shared with us, is it different than, it doesn't look like it, but is there anything that may be different from what's in our packet? Just to make sure if it's new information or not.
This one that you got here?
Yes, yes.
That is
It looks
out
like
of
it's
my
the same.
budget book, copies made out of my budget book, so it should
Oh.
not be any different than the
Oh,
one
it's a
you have.
courtesy copy.
Yes, it's a
Okay,
courtesy
thank you.
copy.
All right. I want to make sure if there's something
Just so you
that's
had
different.
easy access to it.
Okay.
Usually, Stacy's out of town. Usually she puts it in Legistar. Since it wasn't in Legistar, we just wanted to make sure you had easy access to it.
All right, I brought my budget book too. so
Okay,
I've
perfect.
got 3 things, between the iPad,
Yeah.
hard
That's a lot.
copy and this, so just want to make sure.
Yeah,
we're
no
all looking
changes.
apples to apples, okay. So, are you looking to maintain a certain level overall for your budget in the mayor's office? When I first came on board about 12, 13 years ago, one of the major things that I was always announced by the mayor's team was we're trying to stay within a certain range or we're under a certain level in terms of overall budgeting. Over the years, we've gone into we went into a system of paying for certain people from two different departments. I've noticed in the budget book that we're starting to remove that policy or that process moving forward overall in the budget book. Even in the alderman's office, we were paying for someone too partially that's being decremented in our budget line item. So is there an effort to try to maintain that type of an approach? moving forward, I should say.
Yeah, if I understand your question correctly, is, are we adding any new positions, or are we?
No, just trying to stay
Okay.
within a dollar monetary budget number moving forward, and not starting to add, per se, increases, using other departments to help pay salaries.
No, so because Dr. Caputo took on the risk management portion, what we did is we just sort of moved that over, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Krista, is it still being paid out of partially human resources?
Krista Heinke, Director of Financial Operations. Dr. Caputo's salary, is partially paid out of Fund 101, which is in the mayor's office, and then also partially out of risk management funds.
Thank you. Yeah, so his portion of the risk management is paid out of risk funds, but the rest, there's nothing else like that in the mayor's office budget.
Okay, because I think it'll help out with clarity, the community when they research these things as well, and they can see, they don't have to figure out if there's anything of that nature continuing, that type of a practice.
Yeah, it was a similar amount that Alex Alexandru, it's the same kind of chunk that that the previous administration had. Dr. Caputo, it's the same sort of separation between the mayor's office and the risk fund.
Sure. Okay. Well, I understand the concept, and I understand why it was done previous administration, but looking at, having an opportunity to look at that practice now after a few years, I think it's maybe best to focus on getting everything within a certain department, so in the near future. So if you're going to be working in the mayor's office, or you're working in the alderman's office, you're going to be paid out of the alderman's office, or the mayor's office per se. I think that just helps provide a little bit more transparency and doesn't make it as trivial for someone in the community to try to figure it out. So,
Understood.
that's all. Alderman Burrow.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a couple of questions. One comment on the lobbyist. If you could add the description on the text.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have that, so that would have been helpful to know what.
Sure.
to know
Yeah,
what
in the budget itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we know what that's for.
Sure.
And then with respect to the warming center, there's a decision package and it's listed under innovation, but we don't have an innovation department anymore.
We do. Well, we do. It's under community services.
But since you mentioned it and it's a goal, I was going to save it for that budget presentation, but I'll ask it now.
Yeah.
So the decision package is for $250,000 over a number of years. Can you explain what that is for? How did you come up with that amount?
Mm-hmm. So it was looking at the numbers of nights served based on last year and the cost it would be to have a different temperature threshold. We have in previous years done 15 degrees as the temperature threshold. We felt through the feedback of those working the warming shelter and the residents that was pretty inhumane, because sleeping outside at between 20 and 15 is not much different. And due to the health and safety risks, anything under 32 degrees, that's what we moved to. However, we've already had a 32-degree day here and did not have or under 32 degrees, did not have the center open. That's why, it took us a very long time to find a space. We've toured every single city facility we had. We asked lots of churches to see if they'd be willing. It's been quite a task. So that was based on that. This year, it is not going to cost quite that much. You'll see in the presentation later. However, if we wanted to do non-congregate, there would be a cost up front for some structures that are removable that could be built and then taken down very easily that would allow for non-congregate care.
And so what is the basis of the cost?
The costs were to cover security, to cover staff to be paid overnight. There's lots of volunteers that help as well, but those overnight hours are trickier, to pay for cleaning supplies, blankets, laundry, getting people some transportation. We do not host families due to a variety of reasons. So it was for some emergency shelter if HESED was unable to take a family, or DuPage Pads, for example, was unable to, that a voucher for a night in the hotel. We've worked with hotels to get us similar rates that HESED has to keep those costs low, but that would there's a limit on those, and they would only be able to use those kind of for one night while we work to get other arrangements for that family.
Is there dollars for transportation?
Currently in that, there is not dollars for transportation.
And what did we spend? What did we spend last year on this?
I don't have that prepped. I can send that out to the finance committee. I know they came in with a proposal that they came in the city offered much lower, but then there was an agreement to offer them additional costs because we had so many cold days last year and into this year.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Franco.
I had a follow-up to what Alderman Burrow was asking, since we're on the topic. Tell me who, or do we know what other town that has a warming facility uses 32 degrees as a metric for overnight stay? Because it seems like that's a huge jump. And the concern is, starting in a month or so, that could be every single night. So tell me how we arrived at that.
The budget's around 100 days, just so you know. Elgin, for example, which I think is kind of just a smaller Aurora, actually doesn't have a certain degree. They're open a certain date in November to a certain date in March. And that's where we're seeing, because it's very hard. We've heard from our contractor last year to depend on volunteers when you're like, maybe we'll be open in 2 days, maybe we won't. And then if you can schedule it, and then also people just know it's going to be open, it's just easier on everybody. Even though they have to staff more, it was the ability to have a more consistent opening was important, and we saw a huge increase. And I can tell you from personal experience, as I worked at Mercy Hospital in the winter last year, when the warming shelter was closed, our unhoused population was at Mercy Hospital in the emergency room, and that is a huge cost of an average of $5,000 a night to us all, the taxpayers, eventually, as well as, of course, APD, EMS costs, things like that.
So we don't really know of anybody that has 32 degrees at night. I mean, so your Elgin is
No.
open, but so we don't.
There's other
that
that do that. It's like November 15th to March 15th.
Right.
Something like that. I mean, we could do that too.
Well, I just think that,
We're already.
I don't know if, when we did this originally, if 15 degrees was an arbitrary number. I don't know what it's based on, but it'd be nice if we kind of have some data about numbers that make it easier, because it's going to be hard to tell people, like, 32 degrees basically is every night, the resources are expended. But why 32 degrees? Well, 32 degrees because of blah, blah, blah. And then, so we
I
don't
think
really
you'll
have
see that in the presentation
all
later.
right.
And also, it's not part of the mayor's budget specifically.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't really want to tackle
yeah.
that now, but since
Yeah.
we're on, I just jumped in.
But yeah,
Okay.
we'll make sure to get
Okay.
into
All
the
right.
details on that.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. When we started this process, we talked about that we needed to see why we're here in this state of reviewing these things so closely. You put out a decrement list of almost 22% for the mayor's office. I guess we'll discuss later what, if any, of those things need to be codified. These are one-year line item things. One instance that we have looked at over the last year, which many residents have asked me about, and I'm sure my colleagues, was one line item out of the mayor's office, had to do with our State of the City address. As we know, our State of the City address last year was not one state of the city, it was 4 states of the city. I, as a member of this committee, asked for the expenditures for that, for the 4 addresses. initially it came back incorrectly that I, as a member of the Finance Committee, needed to FOIA that information. I quickly talked to them about that was incorrect. A member of the Finance Committee does not need to FOIA any information regarding expenditures for the city. On the contrary, it's our duty as the members of the Finance Committee to go over each expenditure and make sure it's being spent in a way that benefits the people of the city of Aurora. What finally came back from our former Director of Finance was that we did not have all the numbers yet. That was because our last State of the City address was less than a week before the election, which is a whole different thing that we're going to talk about later. So we will, and I know you're going to look into that. We still.
I have a number for you.
Okay.
I don't have all the numbers you asked for yet, since I just got them, but I do have that one.
Okay.
So it was, actually, it was not out of the mayor's office. It was out of the mayor's office of community affairs. That cost line, just, and they spent, from what we can tell in the quick rundown, was $37,357.92.
Okay.
In 2025, right? 2025.
Could you repeat
I don't know
that
if there
number?
were any in 2024, but that was 2025.
Could you repeat that number, please?
Yeah, $37,357.92.
Right. And there were some in 2024, but.
So that was just spent, that was the amount in 2025.
Right, 2025. And going back and doing the research, I could not find another city in the state of Illinois that had more than one State of the City address, including Chicago. Chicago had one State of the City address.
I can assure you, we only plan to do
Chicago's-
one this year.
Yeah, Chicago is at least 10 times as large as the city of Aurora. So when people ask, part of the reason why we're here, it's because of spending that it needs to be reined in. And I see your decrement list at 22%. I don't even necessarily agree with all the decrements you took, but, everyone's in this together. It's a collaborative effort. So,
Yep.
yeah, I appreciate you stating for the record that there will be one State of the City address this year.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, maybe at a later date, we'll discuss if anything needs to be codified. I think something needs to be codified about the number of State of City addresses this city has. We will codify that. And anything else going forward that will better our city. So
Understood.
I'll leave it at that now, and we'll get additional information on some of the other questions. Thank you.
I just want to add to that comment, one of the comments by Alderman Bugg in regards to overspending out of the budget. And I know that the past several years, the aldermen have passed resolutions to help codify and make sure we streamline and keep everybody in a legislative order and oversight too, as we've seen recently here at this committee. One of the things that I think has fallen short is, Alderman Bugg has alluded to, is the mayor's office and the administrative side exceeding budgetary allocations in regards to their spending, and making sure. So, Alderman Bugg, I think you just opened up the door for yourself. You have some homework to do at RAP committee, perhaps moving forward in conjunction with the mayor's office to bring some things maybe better in line for the community. So, but with that said, anybody else have any questions, additional questions? No? Okay. Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cameron, for your time and your presentation. The next topic is the Alderman's office. I believe our own Chief Richard Jacobs is here for that.
Rich Jacobs, Chief of Staff, Office of Alderman. This is, as you all know, the Alderman's office team. I'm very proud of all of our team. They support your work, both in your wards or the city at large, as well as clerking all the standing committees. And I'm very proud of every single one of them, and they add to the success of our office. Our accomplishments in 2025, which was an unusual year, we successfully provided onboarding to 4 newly elected or appointed aldermen. This time it was aldermen. And we was able to completely train my entire team on Aurora's record retention process. Our goals for 2026 is to help increase the aldermanic community engagement through social media, and by that with our working with communications and marketing. And our other goal for 2026 is to continue to provide ongoing training and professional development for all aldermen and alderwomen. The next slide is our office budget from 2020 to 2025. I know it's kind of hard to see. You do have a hard copy. Since 2020, our budget has gone down, and it's been level since about 2021. I do need to note that 2025 is as of date. It's not obviously the whole year. We do have expenses that will occur before the end of the calendar year. And another reminder, the majority of our budget is staff and aldermen and alderwomen salary and benefits. I would like to start going, not necessarily line by line, but a few lines where we have made some changes. If you look at the other document, the hard copy, I've highlighted what is related to the what's up on the screen. So if you look at 2020, that's what we call our clothing line item. And for 2026, we will no longer be providing any aldermanic shirts, sweaters, t-shirts, etc. The next line item, 4201, is education and training. As you can see, 2025 we were at 20,000, and I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where the zero went, but that's not on the copy. It's supposed to be $15,000, and so that's that's weird because it's not what we printed. Anyway, that's education and training, and those are attending the IML conference. We probably will not be attending Lobby Day in Springfield, like we did not do that in 2025, but it's also for other educational conferences for aldermen and alderwomen. The next line item is 4303, travel meetings. Again, in 2025, we budgeted 25,000, and again, it should be 15,000. We have a crazy zero in our presentation. And again, this covers tickets for aldermen to attend events. As you well know, ward funds cannot be used to purchase tickets to galas or charity events or golf tournaments. My budget line item does provide that as a way for the aldermanic office and the particular alderperson to support a particular charity. The next line item is dues. And 4501, this covers IML and the National League of Cities, and we budgeted $6,000 for 2025, and we are not paying for our portion of these dues for 2026. The next line item, 4518, is promotional materials for aldermanic events, including National Night Out. We zeroed out this line mainly because we have a number of items that are left over for 2025 that we will use for 2026, and but there will be limited in what is being provided for the alder people to give out to constituents. Line item 6101, Office Direct, is office supplies, and we've been very good about not going through our supplies very quickly. This is why some of you may have had a conversation with me where I ask if you really need more pens. So we're really keeping an line item, where I'm really keeping an eye out on everything to make sure that things are used properly and we will be able to reuse in 2026. Line item 6109 is custom printing. We had budgeted for 2025 $1,500, and it is now down to, for 2026, $300. This is mainly for our envelopes and business cards. We feel very strongly that we were able to provide older people with business cards that should be able to last through 2026. The next line item, 4503, postage. We had budgeted in 2025 $1,500. For 2026, it's $500. We feel very confident in keeping with that. This is mainly for postage that is coming directly out from the alderman's office, not a particular alder person for their mailings. That is a separate budget from your ward funds. That's my very brief presentation on the 2026 budget. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that, Chief Jacobs. I'm going to start this one off a little bit. I will say that when I first came in to this position as alderman, I had a pencil shortage. And I remember a department head for community development, community services, who now is an alderman, who helped out and even waited outside of his office building on the sidewalk for me to come by and pick them up. So if you need extra pens, I'm sure someone on the other side of the mall might be able to help us out. I hope it's not all looking like it's doom and gloom. We are one team. The thing is, I will say that you should be proud of every single team member in our office. We had a great chief of staff before you, and we're very fortunate to have you as well. You did take it up to another level. I'm very impressed, and you've been very good at keeping up morale in our office through the highs and lows that we experience, whether it's from internal situations or even external situations. I commend you for that. I do have a concern, but I understand about the IML. We have been living in some form of austerity, I would say. I've discovered in the alderman's office. You know very well, I've looked at the numbers from 2012 or 2013 when I first came in. Our budget as of last year had only an increase of 4%. And that 4% also entails salary increases for aldermen. We're giving it all back. We're giving that 4% back. So we're working on a budget coming up here next year at the same level it was when I first became an alderman. Because you only went back to 2020. I noticed that as well. You didn't go back far enough, as far as I'm concerned, so people can understand as well what's happening with our department. I do have a concern. I understand about the austerity, but I do have a concern about no lobby day. I hope that that's not left. One of the things that comes back first and foremost is lobby day. It's a very important event for us to go and speak with other elected officials and support the efforts of the mayor's office and also our lobbyists on behalf of our city. I'm not able to go every year, but when I do find it very fruitful and very eventful, and it helps build the relationships long term as well for our city with Springfield. So, with that said, but one more thing, you are probably one of the lowest paid, if not the lowest paid department head we have in the city. And you are a person of high caliber professionalism. I don't think any one alderman will disagree with me on that. So I appreciate your astute resilience in sticking with us, at least for the time being as well. And hopefully that will change here in the near future. With that said, I will open it up to the rest of this committee to ask any questions they may have. Alderman Bug.
Thank you. I echo some of the sentiments you made. Of course, Rich, we worked on part of this together, and you did an excellent job. And Alderman Masiako's last statement and really the heart of being collaborative. Our team kind of said that they would be that part of the decrement for our office, and I committed that I would fight for our team in 2027, and we will. As revenues go back up, people are going to need to be where they should be. So we'll discuss that another day. One thing I am going to push back on, and you don't know it, I'm going to push back on the clothing allowance. And the reason I'm doing this is because I won't throw them under the bus, but one of the departments that came last week had a clothing allowance that got increased. And that was very surprising to me. And I didn't bring it up at the time because I guess they felt like they needed that clothing allowance. And not only did they need it, they needed an increase in it. I'm going to, and we'll work it out, but definitely for our new alderman, I don't think Mike Seville needs another shirt if he has 44 of them or however many years it's been. But certainly for our aldermen that came on this year, including by appointment and then election, those aldermen do not have a shelf full of shirts, displaying what they mean to the city. So we'll work that out. A number we can put back in there, a small number where a new alderman can be represented the way they should be at different meetings and functions. So thank you.
Alderman Barrera.
Mr. Jacobs, I'll make sure that I hang on to my name tag.
Please.
Try not to break the budget.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I ordered 2 of them. And when I patronize the businesses when I visit the businesses I patronize, I'll make sure I keep grabbing those pens or bring them to the office.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay.
I don't have any questions. It's bare bones. There's not much there. So hope we can get through the year. It's going to be busy. We got a new alderman. As a new alderman, I'm trying to keep up with the veterans. They got stuff going on all the time, so I always have to up my game. So I'm just gonna be more busy, and, you know, I'm glad that we have the staff that we have. You guys are doing a great job for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions new from the committee? Okay, well, Mr. Jacobs, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
With that said, we will be moving on to boards and commissions, and who will be doing that today? Okay, you can sit right there too as well. You don't have to stand up for us. Mr. Nick Thompson. So we're ready whenever you are.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Richard Thompson, Deputy Chief of Staff for the Mayor's Office. I'll be going through the Boards and Commissions 2026 budget presentation. One moment. Perfect, thank you. So I'm going to give a little bit of background about the boards and commissions and then get into the numbers. Approximately, we have 36 boards and commissions currently, and the mayor's office works to appoint, reappoint, and work with our staff liaisons on this. These are kind of like the duties divvied up. So we receive and process all the applications. We work to interview the candidates and arrange the interviews. There's also been a new document that I'll talk about later in the presentation that has been compiled because there wasn't like a formal process, and that was a request from some of the boards and commissions, both the chairs and the liaisons. We prepare the legislative items to present at RAP committee. We maintain a database of appointments and documents. We arrange the trainings and meetings for all staff, and then and members. And then newly, this again, I shared at a previous committee, but what we're going to be doing is we put out a survey, and the survey had 67 of the boards and commissioners fill it out, and there were themes and different kind of identifications of what they kind of wanted to see, and one of the new things was a bit more support in their initiatives and programming as needed. And then the law department, they also aid with the boards and commissions through responding to legal requests. They attend meetings sometimes, and they also schedule trainings. The staff liaisons are incredibly integral to the boards and commissions, and they support the boards and commissions in their respective kind of duties, and they attend all the meetings. They ensure the agenda complies with OMA. They provide administrative support as it pertains to financial transactions, and ensure all the policies and procedures are followed for the boards and commissions. Next, this is what comes out of the general budget. There are 5 boards and commissions that receive stipends. So I do want to highlight one thing. There's going to be a late change, and this took place last year, but they're receiving stipends of $90, and it went from 75 to 90. That was something that was decided prior to this administration, but we're continuing that. And these boards and commissions, again, we're going to do a late change to adjust so that 125 you see will be significantly lower. So what happened was the system is looking at, say, civil service and all these boards and commissions and looking at a full calendar year for their meetings. Say civil service, it's looking at 26 meetings when last year they met 13 times, and they did it for all of that. Right now I'm talking to the boards and commissions. I haven't received all the information back yet, but to schedule their meetings so that we can have an accurate amount of how many meetings they're having. Once they give us those numbers, I'm gonna get that to finance. Finance can update it in the system, and it'll pop out a new number. So that 125 looks a bit alarming, but it's not accurate. It's gonna be significantly lower once we adjust for the accurate amount of meetings they have scheduled for the calendar year. These are other boards and commissions that receive a budget. There's another budget that all the boards and commissions utilize, but for some of the other boards and commissions that have really large events or initiatives that have historically been really critical and important to uplifting and celebrating the different respective cultures and communities. So you see the 2025, 2026, the major changes is we listen to community as well as the board itself. The African American Heritage Advisory Board will be taking on Juneteenth this year in coordination with the mayor's office, but that had never been budgeted prior. It just was not a budget item, and we think it's something important that we want to be reflective. So as a new additional event that they'll be having, it is $20,000 additional. That's what the increase is. And then you see the Aurora Hispanic Heritage Advisory Board. The major changes with this, everything else stayed the same, is a reduction of $20,000. And then the Indian American Community Outreach stays the same. Aurora Veterans Advisory Council stays the same. and then the Aurora LGBTQ Advisory Board stays the same. Finally, this is what I mentioned earlier, just updates and engagement. This is kind of what we've been doing with the boards and commissions. We met with the staff liaisons and put out a survey gathering board input on future decisions regarding the boards and commissions so that they can be further part of like some of the decision making and the shaping of some of the boards and commissions. And then we're going to be having, this is yearly, this is what we constantly do to make sure that new board members are aware, but OMA ethics training planned. Again, we developed a new guide for boards and commissions. One of the things that came out of the survey and just like the direct dialogue with the chairs as well as the liaisons was that the boards all had a different process for their retention, refiling, and other vacancies, and they would constantly be asking the mayor's office and felt that there should be a formal process of how they appoint members, how they interview potential candidates and prospective individuals when they serve on the boards and commissions. So what we did is we created a document that kind of led from their feedback and input that formalizes a process for that. And then finally, we've been doing it in an aim to do so to increase outreach for the boards and commissions for engagement applications. What that looks like really is a lot of folks in the community, we got this from the town halls as well as the surveys, people just aren't aware of our boards and commissions. And if they are, they're not aware what they do, how they operate, what their role is. So, you know, through the boards and commissions themselves and some of the community engagement efforts, is going to be just a more concerted effort to raise those as something that community members can get civically engaged with at our neighborhood groups, through our social media channels, which we've already kind of started to do a little bit more, which is done in the past, but we want to increase the frequency, right? Putting out the ACA board applications, putting out the sustainability board applications. A lot of the boards shared, one of the things that came out of the survey was that they weren't meeting quorum, and they wanted to ensure that they were having people who were joining the boards who wanted to be a part of it and be an active member and participant so that they can really steward and complete their goals and their duties. These are just highlights. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I had a lot of conversations with all the boards and commissions, and they're all doing impeccable work to uplift, celebrate, and like serve our communities. The Commission on Disabilities is doing impeccable work to make sure our community is walkable. The African American Heritage Advisory Board is doing work that they've been doing historically, but are adding events constantly that celebrate and engage the youth of the Black community. The Hispanic Heritage Advisory Board, we all know one of the largest events the city has is Fiestas. The LGBTQ plus board is doing work around scholarships and education for the LGBTQ community. The Indian American Community Outreach Advisory Board, obviously we just celebrated Diwali, had an incredible attendance and a celebration of the culture. They're also providing scholarships. Aurora Youth Council, they had a 2025 Youth Summit. They had a summer retreat and are doing programming competitions in STEM. Just continued, again, Aurora Veterans Advisory Council, they're doing impeccable work to serve our veteran community, making sure that they have the resources they need and raising tons of money for a variety of reasons, making sure that veterans are housed, making sure veterans have the different assistances they need. The Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Advisory Board, one of our newer boards, they had their first board meeting in April. They're already participating in the AIANA Asian Heritage Month, and they're also elected their chair, vice chair, and secretary. Another thing I do want to highlight, they gave me a strategic plan for the year. I haven't received that from any other board. They're really hitting the ground running and are really excited to be serving their community in that capacity. And then we have their Aging and Community Commission. They're doing a really important outreach to our aging community and are doing a collaboration actually with the Human Relations Commission, which is also on here, on trying to ensure we're doing outreach and a caregiver resource night. The Human Relations Commission, they are bringing back their Fairness and Equity for a Better Aurora program and have been doing that and plan to expand that, and elected a new chairperson, new vice chair, and secretary. And that's it. That's just a list of all the boards and commissions and their liaisons, the times they meet, and things of that nature. But happy to take any questions or further elaborate.
That's the conclusion for the first part for you, Mr.
Yes.
Thompson? Okay. Is there any discussion, or I should say, discussion in regards to the relevancy of every single one of these boards that you have here? You wish to continue them? Is that what I understand?
Correct.
All right, so you're not looking to remove any of these in the near future?
No.
Okay, so My other thing, I think that's very important to understand, community engagement. It's probably another department. I was trying to save this question for the appropriate people too, but it was also brought up a little bit with the mayor's presentation about community engagement. And one of the things is allocating proper resources, not so much dollar-wise, but approach, and a tactical approach. One approach that existed with going back 2 administrations and at the tutelage of Alderman Damborero here, and we had a very good successful effort in the 3rd Ward to provide community groups where none existed before. And it did cost an arm and a leg. Certainly required that we went against any armchair type of outreach, if that makes any sense. Boots on the ground to start. And what where we have graduated to as of early this year is staff saying to community groups in my ward that were asking for help, their only response was, have more meetings. So I think that we need a strategy here moving forward to get these community groups going first and foremost, and because I think that's a great location too, besides just the surveys that maybe somebody can scroll and oversee on an email or through a pop-up on their phone. We have some people that we can meet with in their entire city face-to-face and also advocate for some of these boards and commissions and the value that they bring to each neighborhood and to our city. And maybe they'll see the value too with a presentation like we used to have in these meetings, again, under the tutelage of, and I'm not trying to promote Mr. Damborero and the successes he had when he was in charge of that department, but we're trying to say that we have to do everything the way he did it or under his tutelage, but I think there's a nice playbook there that definitely needs to be studied moving forward if we're going to continue having overall pistons all hitting community engagement effort. So that's about all. I just wanted to get that out real quick because it seems a recurring theme here today.
Definitely. I'd love to even follow up on that. Community engagement is a priority for the mayor. He sees it as integral to larger civic engagement and also being able to direct resources to our community so they know what's available. We found through research and through the town halls that folks weren't even aware of our neighborhood groups. So to your point, we do agree that we want to revitalize those and have those be put front and center for the community to participate in, to know that there are units of organization that they can be a part of to work with the older people on a variety of hyper-local issues. So definitely going to be a part of it, and I think it can be done without costing an arm and a leg, right? We plan on doing some internal trainings with community engagement. We have a really stellar team that does impeccable work already. With not a lot of personnel, to be honest, right? But what we're wanting to do is give them the necessary resources and training so that they can execute, to your point, and uplift the boards and commissions, uplift the work that you all do, and talking about how they engage with their alderperson. Some people don't know that process, so that's really all a part of a strategy to increase civic engagement through community engagement and finding different ways to help people participate civically in those ways. So definitely something we're always looking forward to. You have ideas or thoughts, we want to welcome that because we are a team and we embrace that, and we want to make sure our community is not only well-resourced but well-informed so that we can have a community that's tight-knit.
Yeah, it all stems from I would say maybe a community gathering I went to recently in regards to student practitioners and data coming through professionals with doctor's degree that there is information overload for not only students in our community but for also adults and the parents. So if we keep putting out these messages, we're competing out there in the marketplace when they pop up on social media. So providing another avenue in the evening where we can get together, people can get together and have that face-to-face conversation away from a cell phone, away from an iPad, away from a computer, where we're not competing with everybody as well as an alternative. I think in a very successful alternative that has proven itself in the past when I first came on board. So I appreciate you understanding that. With that said, any other questions from the committee? Anybody else care to ask? Alderman Burrow.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a couple of a comment and a question. So is there anybody that's policing the OMA requirements for each of these boards and commissions with respect to properly posting the meeting notices and the minutes? Because I look online and sometimes some of the minutes are not posted. So I don't know if there's somebody that's checking that.
For sure. So the process, what that looks like is each of the liaisons will send those agendas 48 hours in advance to web updates, and then we have the physical copies based upon where the different boards and commissions meet. So if it's here, it has to be posted here. Some meet at public facilities and posted there. Generally, I don't think we have like anyone policing it, but what I do is check in with most of the liaisons, and sometimes they're like, you know what, I forgot. So what we're trying to do is just make sure it's on their calendars. And some of the folks, in their defense, like are new to the liaison role, and we have a guide, great guide, but it is a lot. So what we can do to address your question is ensure that we are a little bit more diligent about ensuring that those are posted, because I mean it is an OMA violation, so we don't want that to pile up and be kind of common practice.
Yeah, that's the main complaint I get. But switching gears, just touching upon what you said, it seems like it would be helpful to have some kind of speakers bureau, maybe some kind of handout, brochure. I know I get asked a lot from neighborhood groups about, hey, who could we get from the city to come and speak to us? So they're always looking to become more informed of what's going on in the city, and I think this will be some interesting speakers coming from these different boards and commissioners. So if you could work on that, that'd be awesome.
I love that idea. So just to make sure I understand it, like maybe like a process of like maybe a list of the different boards and commissions, so that these neighborhood groups can kind of request at need for the folks to come in and speak about the relevant issue.
Yep.
Okay, we can make that happen. I love that idea.
About what they're doing, or how can they work together, things like that.
Definitely, I might follow up with email on that, but I love that idea. Thank you.
Alderman Franco.
Real quick, with Alderman Barrero's mentioned, we're going to do the Aurora Borealis. Well, there you go. First edition, right? I mean, if you're going to spend the money to send it out, that would be a great thing to have in your initial new repurposing of that. But I just want to piggyback on that.
I like that.
The other thing I had, so I was going to ask about the 125,000, but you said that's high. Did we, even though it's wrong, did we derive that based on the number of more meetings? Is that what you said before? Because more meetings mean, $90 per, okay. So I just want to make sure how we got to that, even though it's a wrong number. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, and explain one more time, because maybe the 125 is going to be significantly lower once I get feedback from all those 5 boards and commissions on their scheduled meetings. Like, an example is, like, one of them is just in the system is 26 meetings, but they met 13 times last year. None of them are going to meet that many times, but I guess I don't do the system in the background, but this is what I was explained. I guess the system just did that with the calendar date. So once they give all the data back, I'm going to talk to Krista. We're going to update the numbers, and that number will significantly drop.
Okay. And then with the boards that we're giving money to, the African American and Hispanic and the other ones, do we have oversight of how they spend that money? So if we give somebody $100,000, then they say, okay, so next month we just spent this is of your money. So it's like an oversight, so make sure the taxpayers' money's spent wisely, I guess.
100%. So they do have to submit budgets, and they are subjected to OMA because they're a public body. So it's all in their meetings. But then also, if they utilize those funds for an event, one of the reasons why we have staff liaisons, other than just like administrative support, is that they handle all of the purchasing and those types of checks. So it is a city employee who handles most of that, whereas like the board plans the event, right? Maybe finds the vendor and stuff like that, and then works with staff to follow all of the internal procedures and ensure that oversight of those funds.
Okay. All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. Since you brought up the African American Board, so Juneteenth, the city did a Juneteenth this past year. Okay, we have another organization in the city who did their 25th annual Juneteenth this past year. In the city overall, and even in the region, I would just say there was not the greatest amount of collaboration or discussion leading into that. So I feel like the community would like for the city and the people involved to sit down. I'm not saying that we need to have one Juneteenth celebration, but there was definitely a little bit of a division, and we don't want that, especially on that holiday. That holiday is bringing people together. So if we're going to increase the funds to that, I don't oppose that. But we need to look at it wisely, and like I said, we need to be collaborative, get everyone talking on the same page, and move forward.
100%. I'd love to even follow up on that. Juneteenth is definitely an important event. The organization AAMOU, Ricky Rogers, has been doing a stellar job. That's how I was introduced to Juneteenth about like 20 years ago. So really important to me as well. And I know the board has talked about wanting to do collaborations and then coordinate. So to your point, maybe it's not like condensing the events, but coordinating a little bit better with the calendar, with overlap, and with like maybe some of the opportunities for the young people to get involved, because that's always a really prevalent part of Juneteenth, is figuring out how we like get that education and history to the young people. So definitely we'll make that part of any work that we do to ensure that we have unity. And we want to make it wasn't no surprise that there were issues with Juneteenth this year, so we don't want to have a repeat of that. We learn from our lessons, so want to make sure that we're supporting the communities that love that, specifically the Black community in particular.
Thank you.
Alderman Damburo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have something for Krista.
Oh, thank you.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. So under 1007, line item 2012, it looks like that should be a 0, so I just want to point that out.
Okay, you do have something for me. I will take care of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more thing to contribute. 2 years ago, the Sustainability Board was brought before City Council and did a presentation and an update in regards to what they're working on, and also get some feedback, give the alderman an opportunity to provide feedback. I think it'd be beneficial to consider having some of these advisory boards coming to the City Council at least once a year to give us an update, share with us what's happening, but not so much for the aldermen, because typically we go to their events and we meet them around town, but also for the community to hear in general through our meetings what their status is, what they're working on, and also provide some relevance to them and why we have them as well. So they also help out with maybe somebody who may want to contribute to all around. I think it's a benefit. And it was only once with sustainability recently, and we haven't seen any other board or sustainability come back again. So I hope that that's taken into consideration as well.
I love that idea.
Moving forward. And then we get to see who is in charge too, because sometimes the leaders change and we're not aware of it and as well. But that's all I wanted to add to that as well, myself. But anybody else have a question in regards to this item? If not, Mr. Thompson, thank you so much for your time and being here. We have one more department, Department of Economic Development and Sustainability.
Are you good if I sit?
Absolutely, please.
Thank you
That's
so
why
much.
it's there.
Thank you.
The podiums are there for anybody who wants to torture themselves and do it standing. So, and see, Mr. Dave Debo, thank you so much. Seems like you're joining us as well today. When either one of you are ready, I think we can start with economic development. We're all ears.
Great, thank you. I'm going to start us off today to just get us through the presentation.
Start with sustainability. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
and then Dave can embellish on things that we want to embellish on. So, but we're here to try to get us through this in 5 minutes. My name is Allison Lindberg. I'm the Director of Sustainability. And as you might notice, the department has a title change. And this was because of a mayoral initiative to incorporate more sustainability into the city of Aurora. Now, sustainability has actually been around in the city in a formal way since 2008. The Sustainability Board that you just mentioned has been around since 2008. There has been a sustainability plan since 2009, and there's a new one that was created in 2019, but I think that the mayor would like to actually see us advance some of those goals. Our strategic focus for this next coming year is to invest in initiatives that streamline development, expand business opportunities, and implement cost-effective sustainability measures that reduce long-term operational expenses and enhance the community. With that said, this is a very brief overview of our budget expenditures. You'll notice that this does not include any of our economic development agreements. Even though those are line items in our budget, we have no control over those. We did do a 75% reduction in our budget expenditures. And the major reductions from our budget include things like coffee. We did never have clothing, so that was not included. But we did some major reductions in education, travel, promotions, and other expenses. For example, our full-time staff is reducing to 8 people from 12, and we are reducing our part-time staff to 0. And then we did a really major reduction of 63% in our contracted service fees. So like legal fees, professional fees, that sort of thing. We also removed a $500,000 decision package that was approved last year for a business assistance program. So that's where a big chunk of this reduction comes from. We do have 2 approved decision packages. One of them is for a sustainability coordinator. This will not be an additional person added. We already have this person working in our department. It's just that it will be a title change with a slight increase to reflect the amount of work that they are actually doing and the type of work they are doing. I also just want to mention that they're not just working on sustainability. This person has an urban planning background and is also working on all of the economic development side as well. The other decision package we have is for Aurora Green Fest, and I don't know if any of you here have ever attended Green Fest, but it's a pretty big event that historically has been put on by the Sustainable Aurora Board by their own volition, and this would really help to get promotion and bring some green businesses and education to residents around sustainability. The last Green Fest had over 2,000 attendees and over 70 businesses participated. We have a lot of accomplishments, but we were told to put it on 3 bullet points, so here you go. One of the accomplishments was that Aurora held its first restaurant week in January and February of 2025, with more than 60 businesses participating, which I'm told is more than Naperville's Restaurant Week. We will be doing that again this year. And as you all know, recently we did receive a stretch code grant. We're going after more grants as we speak. We also did a door knocking campaign that promoted some of the expiring solar and EV and historical preservation tax incentives, which had about a 30% acceptance and interest rate. So that was really exciting. And then just generally, the department's been doing what they always do, which is executing projects and working across departments. We also do disbursements of funding. We participate with local businesses, and we do a lot of project management for many projects that are now under construction. And Dave can give more highlights on some of our accomplishments. Some of our major goals for this next year, also as you saw, the establishment of the SSA1 Association. I mentioned the 2019 Aurora Sustainability Plan. That's going to be a lot of education for the community and working across different departments within the city, and really advancing solar and affordable energy efficient housing, increasing the clean energy workforce opportunities, and then last, but probably most important, is securing funding and then financing for people in Aurora. And then on the economic development side, we will be creating a plan and marketing packages for more of the significant city-owned land and improved properties to maximize their financial abilities and quality of life impact on the greater Aurora community. And so I was here to make sure we get through that super quickly. Dave, do you have anything to add?
I think the best thing is to open it up for questions.
Okay.
You know, because I think that was great.
All right, well, my grade school Catholic education upbringing kicked into gear here at the start of the meeting. I didn't mean to put you second. I'm just reading off my list here. It says economic development and then sustainability, so I hope you didn't take it personally or
Not
anything.
at all.
So,
No problem.
but I have no issues with you going first before Mr. Dave Debo. But with that said, a little bit of clarity there. Alderman Franco.
So, one topic on there, and I could be wrong, first restaurant week was 2025. I thought we had restaurant weeks ever since I've been on the city council. I think it was done, Alderman Bug, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it done by one of the organizations, but they did it Restaurant Week in Aurora? The one that Bob O'Connor was affiliated with?
Oh, the Exchange Club?
Yeah, Exchange Club. Wasn't they doing restaurant weeks for a number of years? I remember I used to go to them. It wasn't just last year. What? Restaurant Day?
I think so.
Oh, I thought it was Restaurant Week. I just brought that up because I saw that. I'm like, I thought I was going to that for years ago. But that's...
It was a pretty comprehensive program last year.
Yeah, it's my question was fairly insignificant. I saw that and I could have sworn I was going before. So let me ask you about staffing. Okay, go ahead.
Just to clarify, Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff, you're correct. The Exchange Club used to do like a weekend or like a long weekend of that because I attended as well. But this is the first time the city of Aurora has put one on itself.
Okay, all right, thank you. So when I look at the staffing, I see we took a confidential secretary out and put an executive secretary. We have one. So what is the difference between an executive secretary, I guess, and what is the other one?
The confidential secretary?
Confidential secretary, yeah.
I'm not sure the exact definition.
Well, I don't need it. I mean, are their duties similar? Because I guess as we're looking to save money, if we could have one that does the same work but getting less pay, I don't want to cut anybody's salary, but if we don't need the executive, we can use the other one. How does that work in the mix? Because we're trying to save money. I just see these secretaries there. I'm just wondering if there's similar roles, but you get a bump, you're doing the same work, and I don't know how that goes. That's why I'm asking you guys.
Yeah, thanks for the question. What I will say, at least for our specific department, so we did have 2 secretaries, and now we're only going to have 1. So that's one of the reasons she will not be doing the work of her same work. She's taking on the role of 2 people. Okay. So that's why she's moving up to executive secretary from confidential. But we used to have 2 secretaries.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alderman Larson.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a question. I know this is something that we can't really change, but on the like the economic agreement grants, a couple line items. I just had a couple of questions about what they look like in previous years. So I see 2 of the bigger line items, 55-65 and 55-83. Yeah, I think they're the same ones here. In 2023, it looks closer to what the budgeted amount is for 2025 and 2026. And then in 2024, it's significantly lower for that first line item, the Pacifica Square one, and then the Napleton one is actually negative. Are we expecting to have those be closer to the budgeted values this year and next year as well? Because it looks like year to date they're both at 0, so probably at the end of the year it's an expenditure.
Yeah, that's a great question. I was just going to say, Priscilla probably knows more about this because she's the one that does the payouts for these. If you don't mind, she can come up and answer these questions.
Thank you.
Priscilla Roscoe, Management Assistant for Sustainability Development Economics. Actually, so with our RDAs, we put a line item in there. It's typically an estimate because a lot of our economic development agreements go from sales taxes or property taxes, and we can't always predict what it's going to be, especially when there is any development. We know we work with the tax assessor's office as well, so that way we can get the properties assessed. These are always predictions that we've done when we were doing their pro formas and financials. So it's always an estimate, it's not a guarantee. So we try to do our best guesstimate when we do our budget. And again, this is not something that we have control of, it's something that we try to manage as we go through. And a lot of the agreements go through different funds as well.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. I'm just trying to gain some clarification, understanding that you're newer to the city, but you seem to have some knowledge on the Green Fest, and you've attended in the past, or?
You know, I actually have not ever attended.
Oh, okay,
it. Yeah,
okay.
but I would be happy to try to answer some questions if you have any.
Okay. Well, maybe someone listening in the cyber world will send us some wisdom. So I was very interested because we just had the talk about boards and commissions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds like we're bringing Greenfest actually in-house under the city. I don't know if it was under the city last year, 100%. I know in the past it was not, because I sponsored and I always wrote a check to the Conservation Foundation that was not in Aurora, and I always questioned that. And I understood that it was not a city function. City supported it, but it was not run by the city. Great people run it. They did a great job. Sounds like now we are bringing it in-house. So please talk to us about that, the collaboration with them. I don't know if those people, because like last year, I don't think our sustainability board ran it last year. I'm not certain, but I don't think so.
Sure.
Because certainly there were people not on the sustainability board organizing it. I know that. So please talk to us about that.
Oh, do you
This
want to?
whole,
Okay. I mean.
we're in new territory here.
Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff. So clarification, Mavis Bates, who is the chair of the Sustainability Board, has asked for this to go under the city's purview, and the mayor had agreed to that, and thought, you know, with this new push, and we hope that we will involve the Sustainability Committee. But I believe you're right, it was the Conservation Foundation that had run it, but they have asked that we take that on.
Okay.
Yeah, I also just want to add, they were not able to actually do it last year. And this is one of the reasons why they wanted to have help from the city, is because it was just a volunteer effort, but it had gotten so big that it was becoming really difficult to manage. And we think this is a good opportunity for the city as well.
Okay, so it was not held, it was postponed, I know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it will be in May.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for that update, and I'm glad that we've talked to everybody. Everybody's on the same page. I didn't want to get a phone call from Mavis later.
You will.
Yeah, I probably still will. No, that sounds great. They do great work. If we can help them make that even bigger and better, fantastic.
Yeah, I'd also just like to mention that we are planning on working with other departments on the Green Fest as well. We think there's a really good education component. We've already been talking with youth services about that. So I think that it could be a really good thing for the city for a lot more people to get involved. And I do know some of the older people have donated in the past. And so if you all want to be involved in some kind of way, please let us know.
Great, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, follow-up then. So it will just be under you, it won't be under, so I was looking at the boards of commissions and saying, why isn't the sustainability board over there with a budget and the $25,000 going to them and they're planning, but it's strictly under your department, not under the board. Board's gonna give you advice and recommendations.
Yes, thank you for that question. We were asking ourselves the same kind of question. It doesn't really matter, but we do, the Sustainable Aurora Advisory Board has a $3,000 budget in line item in our budget. So that's as much as they get for having their meetings. And then yes, this $25,000 will be in our department, and we will use it to help run the Green Fest with their help. They're going to advise, they're going to do a lot of volunteering and things like that too, but we will be managing it.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Alderman Guerrero, you haven't spoken yet, or?
No, I'm waiting to be called on.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a couple of questions. One, I didn't see an organizational chart provided. Is there an org chart?
Yes,
There
we do
is
have
in
an
the-
org
in
chart.
the-
I'm
in
not
the-
sure. I guess I thought it was in there. If it's not, we can get you
There's
one.
there's a staffing chart, but not an organizational
Okay.
chart.
Yeah, we have one. Sorry about that. We can get that to you ASAP.
Yeah, just, and then it's hard to, the other thing is there's some planners in here. and
Yeah, there's
so-
no more planners in our department. That's part of the staff. Oh, yeah, yes. Our sustainability coordinator, she has a planning background, but her title will
But are
not
the
be as
planners-
planner.
Are the planners with planning? I mean,
Yes.
can you kind of explain
Um,
the shifting and what? the
Yeah,
rationale behind
so
that?
we shifted one planner over to planning, and then the other vacant position we just did not fill. So it would be up to them if they needed that planner. But, so we had two planners on our list initially. And then, as I mentioned, the sustainability coordinator, she does have planning experience, but she's
So-
not, that's not her
Can you
technical
explain, so we have a
title.
director of sustainability and a sustainability coordinator?
Yes.
So that's a new position, and how?
Yes.
Can you describe that one?
The position of the sustainability coordinator.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a position that will help with grant funding, will help with some of these development agreements. She goes to some of the DST meetings, the development services meetings to see if there are opportunities to incorporate sustainability. She is the liaison for the Sustainable Advisory Board. So she just basically does a lot of things for our department. What was she working on for you, Dave? She was working on a,
Yeah, an example would be, we're identifying the large parcels that we have. You know, we actually have less vacant land than people think we have. So we want to make sure that all those opportunities, residential opportunities, we're able to maximize in terms of not only development, but sustainable development. So very often those properties, they don't quite have as-of-right zoning. There's zoning, but they have to come to the city. So when they come to the city, we have the opportunity to say, you know, ideally, we have this opportunity. Let's try to make this a more sustainable development. And that's when Allison will talk to Jasmine, and they'll try to figure it out. So we work together on that.
So this is a new position, and do we normally add a decision package for a new position? Is this in our pay plan? How does that work?
Krista Heinke, Director of Financial Operations. Yes, it is typical for us, if we're adding a new position, that it is entered as a decision package. That's how we establish that position.
So would we be adding a decision package then? I didn't see one for that position.
yeah, it should be in there. It's,
Let's see if it's. you know
so
that
I
we
see
had
two
one.
decision packages here.
Yes, it is in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Page 296.
So, well, I was thrown off because you said it was already filled or something.
Yes, I mean, she's already working in the department as, under an executive secretary position.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. And the other thing, I wanted to comment on the department name. It's a little long. Is that the department name, Sustainability, Economic Development, and Business Opportunities? Or is that?
Well, development, so, which is more broad than just economic development and business opportunities. It is long, but at the end, it really says what we do, because we try to maximize the opportunities in the city, whatever it is.
Oh, okay. And then I wanted to comment on the Green Fest. You know, I was there at the beginning as a volunteer, and, you know, over the years, we were also sponsors at through the city of Aurora, also partners in helping out with the event. And it was always a thing where the Green Fest was put together through sponsorships. So it wasn't, you know, then they raised money. So that was always the goal. So my question is, if that was the case, and now we have it as a city cost for $25,000, what is the breakdown of that cost? And is there a way to continue those partnerships so that there is cost neutral? What is the plan for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do have a breakdown for costs, and I would say that we're still going to go for sponsorships, and we're actually going after a grant right now as well to help with that. Just cut out on me.
You want to come here? This one works.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I'll just do a little switcheroo here. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're going after a grant for that. We want to actually be adding, I don't want to give everything away that we're going to do, but we have some fun things planned, some prizes and things like that, and that we're going to use some of the grant money for. But I would say that the cost that we want to cover with some of this money is the marketing of this, and I think that that was the big concern that the people from Greenfest had in the past, was that they didn't have enough to really market the event, and so that's where some of the funds are going to come from. But I agree, we would love to make this as neutral as possible, and hopefully we won't need that entire amount of money.
Okay, that's great news.
Would you like to see a breakdown of the budget? I'm happy to send it to you all.
That would be great. That would be great, because as a previous sponsor, I always ask for that, because you know they were getting all these sponsorships, right? And you go to the event, and you would see all these sponsors, and they had all the big companies in Aurora writing big checks. So in my mind is, how much could this possibly cost, right? Because they were always asking for more sponsorships.
Yeah.
So that's why I ask.
Yeah.
So now I want to get into the weeds here. So on line item 55-83, on that, you know, there's reference to, well, it just has Napleton, but it would be helpful if all the development agreements could have a reference to the year approved and how many years it's approved for, so we can kind of keep track, so we know, hey, we're in year 9 of, out of 10, and
Okay, gotcha.
It's good information to have.
Yeah, is that something that we can ourselves add, or does finance need to add to that? Okay.
Either way.
I'll let you take care of that.
You can work it out, but yes, either way.
And let us know what you need from us. We can help you establish that info.
And then the next one, under furniture, there's a $12,000 as a reference to new employees. So I thought we were reducing staff, so I'm questioning the need for furniture, especially since we're reducing staff. We should have extra furniture. Is there a reason for this dollar amount?
Yeah, the furniture was essentially, we have some very old furniture, and we had been hoping, you know, I came on and I was new, maybe I could get a new chair, that sort of thing. We don't have to have the full 12,000, but we are moving our office again, and we don't know if we're going to need additional furniture. We're still working to find out what's going to be over there, what we can take. Somebody else is moving into our spot. So I would say it's probably misclassified by saying that we have new employees and that's why we need it. It's more that we're moving.
So again, I think we're going to have extra furniture if we're reducing some offices throughout the city.
Sure.
It's just something I like to bring up as a
I appreciate that.
Something to look at.
We can definitely look at that,
and then
that budget.
same with account 6180 under other, and then there's a reference. I mean, that's $2,500, but doesn't reference what it's for. And then 6101, it references additional staff for.
Oh, sorry. Give me a second.
As well. So 6101 and 6180. So I'm just questioning if there could be more detail on 6180, what that's for, and then 6101, it references for additional staff. And so just wanted to point that out.
Oh, sure. I'm trying to remember. Who's Priscilla? Did she leave? Okay. I was trying to remember what that additional staff for the 4,000 was for 6101.
Sorry, Priscilla Roscoe, management assistant. when we did our budget changes, so when it was first submitted, this is how it was submitted. Then we went through our decrement, we did not change the titles. That's what happened with that. So it's not that there's additional staff, it's just trying to still keep some funding for any extras that we might need with the new positions that are coming in. Or the changes, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that that particular line item, I do think, again, it's miscategorized, but it decreased. It was 7,000 and it went to 4,000. So, but yes, it's misclassified, I would say.
Well, that would help if it was.
Yeah, if those were
made
fixed.
those
Yeah.
Changes. Thank you.
And then and ours is a little difficult because we have to go through two different ones. It's not all in one for us. So we will have the historical in one account and our new account is going forward.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
I just want to piggyback off one of your thoughts there, Alderman Barrow, on that title. We have a pattern here of recent years of adding an acronym, and maybe we call it, here we have a SDBO.
Yeah, SDBO. I know. I'm into it.
Our guru.
We've already suggested it to him, but he didn't seem excited.
So-
But I think we just go with it personally.
Okay, well, Alderman Franco.
A couple things. Alderman Barrero asked one of my questions about the organizational chart. That's good. And, these positions change and titles change. So I'm trying to keep up with this stuff. So the sustainability coordinator, is there like experience or education you have to be able to do this position? Because I'm just not familiar with it. I understand what planners do. My daughter's a planner, but I don't know some of this other stuff. So if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we do have a job description for it, so I'm happy to send that your way as well. But yes, I would say that they need to have some kind of design background and knowledge of sustainability, and that's exactly what this person has. Quite a lot of it, actually.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Gentleman to my left. No? No, all right. I have just one more thought to share, and that stems from another committee, another department discussion here, a budgetary discussion in regards with when Chief Curley talked about properties and assets and whatnot. And one of the things that I talked about, and I'd love to have for our council to have, and I'm sure, and I know it includes Mr. Debo, this department, is a reevaluation, if there is a reevaluation in regards to our approach with our properties that we own, particularly downtown as well. If there's a change or an update or modification to what we've already discussed as a city council previous, I'd love to have that discussion come before us or an executive session if required to better understand any approach that might be new and improved.
Are we talking about for the properties the city owns?
Yes.
And the process to that we might.
Well, we've had a discussion. We had a discussion about a year or so ago in regards to how to approach downtown. I believe you led that discussion with the city council.
Yes.
And I think that was an executive session. And like I said, I'd love to know where we're going moving forward. We have a new mayor, obviously a new mandate. And how does that new mandate affect our downtown properties?
It's a great question. It really is a great question because, and I always use the word packaging. So a lot of these properties are unique in their own ways, and what we've always seen is there's a tremendous amount of cost to fix these properties up. So we should put something on the calendar after the budget, go through. I don't want to call it a liquidation plan because it sounds too dramatic, because you want to do this in a methodical way. You want to, because the whole idea of whether these properties were purchased in the last administration or in the previous one to that. So for instance, buildings like the Franz and a lot of those Broadway buildings were in the Wisner administration. But in any event, what's the plan? Those Broadway properties are just critical. Now, Vicolo, the new restaurant, is coming on, right near on one of them. But let's come up with a plan and show you the packaging, at least the proposed packaging, of who we would like to solicit for these properties. I will say, at least anecdotally, that what's always been very important is not just moving one property, let's say from the city to a landlord. That's a good thing because you start getting some taxes. However, what you really want is the tenant. Who's the user? What kind of, where's the grocery store gonna go? Things like that. So why don't we come to you with a plan to show you all that, and maybe do that right after the budget thing, that's first quarter of '26.
Yeah, and if you can also include Shodine in that one as well.
Sure, and we do, I think that's a great idea, and we do go up periodically to meet with Dave Patzel and, you know, try to get them to move a little bit. They tend to be fairly stuck in terms of, you know, waiting and seeing, which is really tough for us both on the parking lot deals we have and on the big deal that we have, so good idea.
Yeah, I'll also just add, you know, I haven't been here very long, but one of the things I have noticed is that I think this department could do a better job about talking about the good work that we're doing and the developments that are coming in, probably to you all, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions that things are not happening and things are not moving. And, you know, yes, maybe we need to do that in executive session, but I just feel like it might be a good idea for us to just be a little more open and talk about that so that you guys know what's going on.
Really appreciate that. There are a couple of properties that we are planning, maybe even before the end of the year, to come to you that they are city-owned properties with local people that you know of and local tenants that you know of, and putting everybody together and saying, what about this? Do you think that this particular property, let's say the property next to the alderman's office that we purchased, do you think this is the right use, and so on? So we will come to you on those as well. But yes, there are some things going on, but I do think putting in the context of a plan is a good idea.
Then my other question here, that I've been holding here to the end, I'm looking at your performance measures, and performance measures are being maintained stable from last year's budget. The only thing is, the one difference here with this department, and I'm sure my colleagues here will agree to, is we lost Trevor Dick. How do we continue the process of maintaining these performance measures without someone of his caliber, who's brought us, you know, along with you, certain level of success to our city, and with some of these development packages here that we have?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to mention that these performance measures, my understanding is that this was created still under the last administration. So I don't know, David, if you agree that we could probably revisit the actual performance measures that are here. You know, we were just asked to redo our budget, so that's what we did, but this part did not get changed, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that.
Okay, because it's.
But that's still a good question, and I did not get him a chance to answer that, though, about Trevor.
So, you know, being on the other side, as an architect working with developers and investors, looking to develop a project or create a new project, takes a lot of effort. And it also takes a lot of effort from your side as well to deal with all these developers and architects and et al. So the question is making sure that you have the time, because that's the most valuable thing that you have in order to be successful. Making sure that the performance measures are realistic with what you're dealing with.
Yes,
that's where I'm coming from.
We're going to take a good shot at being more efficient. There's no doubt that you know, Trevor's title was strategic planning. So a lot of the longer term projects, he was really, you know, whether it's Wilder Park or the Chris Kindle Market, things like that. Things where, you know, even some of the trash collection. It was just all things that had more a longer term purview versus, let's say, stuff that's Tracy's doing, which is day-to-day things. So that is the kind of thing that right now I think Allison will pick up some of that by definition. Some of it's going to go back to Tracy, and we're all going to have to pick up in this tighter budget. We're all going to have to pick up a lot of that as well. But that really is a lot of, very often Trevor helped us with day-to-day things, and he was great at stepping in here. But what he really was focusing on were those bigger initiatives, those longer-term initiatives.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions from the committee? Hearing none, thank you very much to you both. Have a great rest of the day. I believe that concludes a budgetary discussion, item discussion for the day. And clerk, could you please quickly read the walk-on item? And actually, it's not a walk-on item, it's an FYI for our information only. But if you can read the title without the resolution number.
Without the resolution?
Yes. Yeah.
A resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter into an agreement with Becoming Oswego Church for the management and operation of a temporary warming shelter on an as-needed basis effective November 4th, 2025 through May 31st, 2026 for an amount not to exceed $136,141.
Good afternoon, Nicole Mullins, Chief Community Services Officer with the city. We put together a brief presentation. Thank you for allowing us on for informational purposes. We do also have Becoming, who's the contractor, here with us today. We also have Hesed House and AID who are helping with this initiative. This will be going on to COW, so a much more robust presentation will be sent out tomorrow with more information. And if you guys have any questions, we are open to answering them, obviously today, but also in the meantime before COW if you had additional information. The city's warming shelter last year was done through an RFP with Wesley after the transportation center was no longer an option a year and a half ago. Wesley was the only organization to submit for that RFP. They were unable to submit for this year due to not being able to have their space available for it this year. Our department, along with the mayor's office and staff from various departments throughout the city, looked at all of the properties that the city owned, also looked into other possible rental options, reached out to churches to see if they had any space available. All in all, it was pretty grim, the options available to us. Also, last year, that was identified to be the case by city staff, which is why they put out the RFP for Wesley to have the opportunity to apply, is because they identified that that was not going to, that there was no viable city location. We did identify one space in downtown that is not ideal. However, it is the only space that would have been able to be up to code in time. One facility that we looked at that I know Alderman Barrero was aware of was a location further down on Broadway, more into the warehouse area. We toured that space hoping it would be the best option. It was horrible inside, and trespassers had basically gutted some of the wiring and plumbing. So that was not an option. I'm trying to hurry, so I'm not even looking at the presentation. Gaps in services, there is some misconception that we are trying to duplicate the efforts of Hesed House. We are not. In fact, last year and the year before, anyone who was showing up to the Wesley shelter, if they were eligible to go to Hesed and Hesed had capacity, they were routed to that facility. So this is really only to meet the need of those individuals that if Hesed is beyond capacity or if they were not allowed in that facility for whatever reason, that they would have an option. It is a cost-saving thing for the city to have this in place, besides just being a humane thing. A lot of times people will utilize city resources, public resources, hospitals, ambulances to get out of the elements, whether it's for legitimate life-threatening incidents that they're experiencing, or if they just want to get out of the elements. Shannon mentioned previously her experience through the hospital. That kind of echoes studies that have been done where those services are utilized to get out of the element. So we believe that having those, a facility in place will help mitigate the burden on our emergency services and police department. There was an incident a couple of years ago where an unhoused gentleman passed away in the cold. He was a 25-year resident of the city. People have had incidents where they have lost fingers and toes due to exposure. And so not everybody is going to bring themselves to utilize this service. However, if it's not there, then they really have no choice for overnight services. Here's a quick highlight about the different categories of emergency services and city services, and the comparison to with shelter versus without shelter. Why downtown Aurora? The titling of this is a little misleading because we were not looking for downtown Aurora. In fact, I would say personally, I would have really loved to have avoided it. However, this was, again, the only building available. The benefits to this building from a service standpoint is that it's already ready. Zoning would, or occupancy would really not be an issue. City staff walked that and did confirm what would be needed, what would we need to block off. It's a safe distance from schools. There's a transit stop right out front. So it was in the downtown for a long time at the transportation center. So it's not that this is going to be attracting our unhoused community to downtown. They are there already. So we did keep in mind as we developed this program or this project at this location with the businesses and the community at large in mind. We agreed with becoming and decided it would be a really good opportunity for us to block out the windows, have artwork in the windows, or some winter paintings that a lot of the downtowns participate in anyway, not utilizing the front of the entrance, utilizing the rear, not having people line up as they are waiting to get checked in, but rather come in and do it deli style where people just come in and can be checked in internally. This is the proposed site, 35 North Broadway. Again, one of the questions earlier was 32 degrees being the threshold. Chicago does utilize that, and there are several other cities throughout the U.S. that use that as the threshold, but we can get more information about, why is that exactly? Is it something, exposure at that temperature, certain things happen to one's health. The operation's going to be run by a combination of paid staff, trained volunteers, security, and then a strong partnership with local organizations like AID and Hesed House. It would be funded through city allocation of funds, and also Becoming has committed to helping search for private donors to help offset the cost that this would have on the city. And then engaging the business community, because we were really trying hard to find a location that would be good for, business community, our unhoused community, and the community as a whole. It wasn't until the last couple of weeks really that this was identified to be the only viable option. So we have community engagement that has been given a list. I connected with Alderman Garza this week. She gave a list of some of the businesses she's aware of that are concerned. And community engagement is going out and speaking with those businesses. There's also a meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. At La Quinta where we will be attending, Becoming will be attending to hear those concerns. And I will let Becoming go into more detail briefly about ways that they've committed to mitigate some of the concerns of the businesses, but it really is not going to be like we're setting up shop, good luck to everybody, hope it all works out in the end. So they can go into that in more detail.
just please state your name for the record as well.
I'm Annie Fish, part of Becoming, and I would be shelter director this year.
Patrick Fish, pastor at Becoming.
So yeah, we are here to answer any questions and kind of start that conversation. This is the first time we've been able to really present this, though it's been something we've continuously been working on. And so we're consistently trying to, like Nicole said, we've been looking at different properties, trying to be creative. We sent in an RFP that was basically about being, you know, flexible with what our city can do, and we remain those types of partners because we care about what's going on in the city of Aurora. And so, which is why we are also partnering with
could
AID.
you please focus
with
on the
AID and
microphone?
Hesed House, and AID and Hesed House being that we are very involved with them, and just that they're already at full capacity at Hesed. They're right about to move to a wait list, even after expanding their shelter services more than their original intent. And so this is really needed, or our neighbors, there is no question about it, our neighbors are going to die on the streets if we do not provide them a space this winter. And yeah, with that said, do we want to talk about kind of?
So, Alderman Franco, you asked about the
28.
threshold. And so just so you know, there was lots of research done. So I was giving you a thumbs up like, yes, there lots of the Midwest, especially cities, Cincinnati, Atlanta, I guess is not, but Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Gary, Des Moines are all 32 or 35.
At night.
Correct.
Well, he's
And-
asking me, he's talking to me directly, so
yeah.
at night, is that what you're saying, or during the day?
Is once it reaches 32 degrees or 35 degrees, they open their shelter.
I just want to make sure
Overnight.
Nicole Mullins' presentation completes because we're running out of time. We're not going to all have an opportunity to
I'm sorry.
engage in, but
That's
I will
my
give
fault.
you, Alderman Franco, the first take at it if they're finished within the next 5 minutes. So
I apologize. That's my
that's
fault.
good.
No, but yes, that there is, like, this is the National Coalition for Homelessness that puts out these numbers and recommendations, and this has been a study since 2010, and they've been trying to get the United States to really be those pioneers and not be waiting for other communities to really set the tone, but to really be those people caring about human beings. It's, you know, not about a temperature for us, it's about the human beings. And with that, we're just trying to keep human beings alive, and that's at the rate which frostbite, hypothermia, everything accelerates at another level, especially in the Midwest with wind chill and everything else. So that's that number is actually not including the wind chill and things like that, which that also obviously adds to the purveying problem.
Also, it will only be an overnight shelter. It's not going to be during the day, and extended hours will be offered on Sundays to account for the library opening closer later in the day, so that people can stay at the warming shelter instead of congregating in downtown waiting for the library to open.
And last year, we served over 98 unique individuals. So at Wesley United Methodist, which we were also a part of last year and part of that RFP process and really making sure that got launched. So, 98 people needing our shelter last year, and that's without every SNAP benefits being cut and things like that.
And that, just to clarify, that was not 98 people at one night.
One time.
It was 98 total unique
Throughout the
people
year.
over the whole entire winter. The nightly averages varied. Some nights they only had a few people there. Some
It was
nights
35 on average a night
Towards the end.
towards the end.
Yeah. I would 60% were one time or less. So we had only, I think, 11 chronic who were there every single night.
Thank you. If you have any
Right.
questions.
Well, with that said, I think you had a really great response here at the start of the meeting in our public comment in regards to what the business community is feeling, get a good real litmus test of what you're getting into. I will refrain from saying anything right now, except that I did start receiving phone calls last night before I even had a chance to look at what the information was presented to us via email. And I will also wait till I have another discussion with the ward alderperson as well. But with that said, I did say, Mr. Alderman Franco, I'll give you the floor. Just know that we're probably not all going to have a chance to weigh in on this subject matter this evening.
All right, so real quick, and I won't go to the 32 degrees. I want to paint the picture here now. If the business community is against it because they may be losing business, and we've done a lot of things over the years to help the look of downtown so people come down to spend money. We've had businesses already leave the last 6 months because things are getting worse with the look. So if we don't generate revenue from our downtown because of whatever reason, whether it's real or perceived, then we can't fund these things. So when we go forward, we have to make sure that we understand the economic cycle, because we want to put the resources into that. We have to have the business community do well so we can generate the taxes. So I want everybody to think about that. We just can't do one thing without looking at the big picture. So the downtown location, I just don't see that being a good thing for our downtown, hence resources, the whole thing. So I'm gonna make it quick, but I think we have to connect all those dots for the location purpose. I'm not going the location purpose. I think it's a big deal.
I will speak to that because from their perspective, they're looking at it from the social service perspective and not really on the downtown businesses. However, our department and the mayor's office are looking at it more holistically, although I will say they've been great collaborators in prioritizing concerns from the business owners, and they will be present at the meeting tomorrow with Wani at 1 p.m. Ultimately, if we don't identify a location, we're going to be stuck with either nothing or having to resort back to the transportation center. That is also downtown. It's also right next to Chris Kendall Market. It's going to be a lot of the same issues. But I mean, I understand, and we are doing our best to mitigate what that impact will be. Becoming has offered to have a point of contact available to them throughout this whole winter, to have a point of contact for the businesses to go to. I've already spoken to a few of the business owners. I think the business community has the perception that we're just gonna open the doors and kind of say, good luck, hope it all works out for everybody. And really, we are invested in making sure that it is a good neighbor situation. Becoming also put together a handout that will be given to those businesses about what efforts are being made, so that it is not a problem. A lot of the business owners are dealing with problems already every day. They expressed a lot of those examples, and their concern, I think, from what I've heard so far, is that they're worried that the problem is going to get worse, that there's going to be more people. And what I'm thinking and what Becoming is willing to do is be more of a collaborative partner in making a space for those people to go, so that it's not just them dealing with it on their own. So there is a support there.
Yeah, so we also want you to know that we're working with the city, we're working with volunteers, we're also working with these awesome people that you all know. AID, which is, if not the biggest employer, one of the biggest employers in Aurora, and Hesed House. And so we'll work with them continuously, and they can share with you that without us, there will be people that'll get hurt.
All right, I'm going to give one more alder
Okay.
person here an opportunity to ask a question, because we are running out of time, unless it's really quick. Alderman Keith Larson.
I had more of a comment than a question, if Alderman Burrow has a question.
Go real quick with your comment.
My comment was just to reiterate the fact that there are already a lot of unhoused people, especially in the downtown area. Whether or not the warming shelter happens here is going to determine whether they're inside or outside.
Correct.
I don't think this is going to increase the population at all. And if anything, it's going to be taking unhoused people off of the streets where they're in more stable conditions, and it will be less of a concern to the public. So those are my thoughts.
Alderman Damborero, hopefully it's quick. You have about 2 minutes.
Just wanted to comment on the information only. So if it's information only, that means that we don't have a say in whether it goes there or not? Is this a mayor's office prerogative? Because that's what it sounds like?
No, we tried. Last year it was the Innovation and Strategy Director that led this. She did get the process started with the RFP. In the time between then, her position was one that was discontinued. We were trying very hard to get it in time for it to be on the agenda in time, and we did not get it there. So that's our fault. It will go on for COW.
As an action item?
I would need clarification from Shannon. But
I think they're gonna probably walk it on a COW.
Correct.
But is it something we vote on, or is it?
No, not here today. But so we can discuss, it'll be an agenda item. My
Eventually be-
understanding is. the next
yes,
meeting.
COW, you would vote for it.
It's not decided.
No.
We're
we
not
don't-
voting for
Action
it.
We don't
items.
vote on anything at COW.
Right.
Or sorry,
We
yeah.
have the distinct pleasure of having forcibly, due to the Veterans Day holiday, we have COW and council the same night. So your point is well taken. It's going to be an action item. It's going to be a one day. So thankfully, we got to listen to it in committee.
That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it's out there, it's here, it's in the community.
I got 30 seconds.
Sure, you have 30 seconds.
Excellent, thank you. Yes. So thank you for the presentation. I am already late for a meeting to meet with one of these business owners right now. They are very concerned. I am very concerned. Even one street can make a difference. So I just pulled up my map and started looking. I know you've looked everywhere. Even if you just moved it to LaSalle, that would make a big difference because there's no retail establishments per se on LaSalle. If you looked over on Middle Avenue, I don't know, and I imagine you have. You started to talk about a place you looked, you didn't, I mean, we're all friends here. Where was it?
It was the Go Green Recycling
Oh,
thing.
Get Green.
Oh, yeah, Get
My
Green, yeah.
friend's there. Yeah, I worked with him for years. Yeah.
There was, I can say other locations too, if you like. We looked
Okay.
at several, I mean, I can send you them all.
No, you looked at the warehouse at Get Green. Did you look at
We
their
looked-
office?
Yes, yes. That would not be able to get up to code at all.
Okay.
There's so many things, including
Okay, you
proximity
don't-
to parks and schools and things like that. It's a very difficult process to find the right place.
Well, I would
Yeah,
say,
I understand.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, the
it's
business
almost-
community is gonna have much to say about this before Tuesday.
Absolutely. With that said, thank you very much, Ms.
Thank
Mullins.
you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Alderman Ed Bug, second by, motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Ed Bug. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned at 5-0. Motion passes. We're adjourned at 4:59 PM. Thank you, one and all.